Hi, Robert.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Pencil. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Dean. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Did you get the drawings today?
Of the neighbor? Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Oh, so hopefully they all got them. Did you send them to everybody too, Dean?
I sent it to Bethany. It didn't work. She was able to access all the older files, not the newest one.
Hi, Zach.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. I didn't get any drawings. I don't know that I needed any, but
We've had some computer issues, so
okay.
is what it is.
Yeah, it didn't affect me. As long as we're sharing tonight, that's fine.
We're gonna share, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Good evening, Robert.
There I
How
am.
are you, Zach?
Hi, Bethany.
There I am.
Bethany.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi, Bethany.
So does Carrie have them to show us? Good. All right, then
Yeah.
we're good.
You look like you're coming to us from Vermont, Bethany.
Oh, yeah? It is a
Yeah.
little cold. It is a little cold.
I was talking about that little stencil bench behind you.
Oh, yes. That's an oldie but a goodie, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a Hitchcock. No, it's not. At least it's not a sign, it's not signed.
Yeah.
My parents had it. I remember when we
Nice.
got it. So,
Nice.
yes.
So we have a quorum. Carrie, do you know if anybody else is coming tonight?
I did not hear if anybody else was not coming in.
Great.
I'm gonna admit everybody into the meeting, and we are already live on YouTube.
Great. How many likes? Mr. Gambrell, how are you?
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see y'all.
Hi, board members.
Good
Hi,
evening,
Elizabeth.
Liz.
There she is.
Hi.
Hey,
How are
Liz.
you?
Guys.
So, let's see everybody.
Anybody else, Carrie?
Nobody yet, but I don't see Brian DeSessa yet, and he's on first.
We could do the minutes.
Okay, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. This is the beginning of the December 10th, 2020 ARB meeting. I pledge of allegiance to the flag,
Like,
the United States
States
of
of
America,
America,
and to the
And to the
republic
Republic,
for
for
which
which
it
it
stands,
stands,
one nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
liberty
indivisible,
for all. Thank
liberty
you.
and justice
justice for all.
for all.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 12th, 2020 and 19? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Great. Old business, Carrie, I have 20 Bay Street.
Oh, we're gonna do public hearings first.
Okay.
Did you get that? You got the updated? And Brian DeSessa is just getting in now. There he is.
Good evening.
Hi, Brian.
I will make the motion to open the public hearing for 41 Glover Street. Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Okay, great. Mr. DeSessa? You're muted, Mr. DeSessa.
All right.
Good evening, members of the
Here
board.
he is.
Good evening.
Brian DeSessa, attorney for the applicant. I'm just pulling up my screen. One moment. The application is for amendments to a previously approved plan at 41 Glover Street. It was aesthetics changes. We had been before the board last month. And if I could screen share now, I'll pull up the differences.
Great.
So on your, hold on. On the screen currently, the top is the previously approved elevations for this house with this board. The applicant now is proposing the bottom changes to that. Namely, if you look at the north elevation, I will zoom in on that. The changes are specifically to this, first to this roofed area. The shed roof is being reduced in size and in height, and this window package area is being changed from what you see in the north to here, making it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing with respect to color and material, which are also wrapped around throughout. You can see here, they've added an awning overhang area, changed this from window packages together, making it a little bit more fitting into the character of that area. There weren't questions from the board previously. Again, the color is changing, the materials are changing, and the window types are changing. The massing of the house, gross floor area is not changing. The roof lines are changing. So if you see here on the south elevation, where the previously approval was for this metal roof that ran straight across at the ridge height, you see now on the proposed southern elevation, that being tucked down below the existing, which is the Glover side street ridge height. Everything now is tucked underneath the historic home on the front of that. Landscaping remains the same. Everything else remains the same in this plan, with the exception of the aesthetics that we had walked through previously and are before the board at this time. So I am happy to answer any questions or comments from the board with respect to that.
You say materials, Bri? How is it different?
So let me pull that up. They're painting it now white, so
Yes.
it's matching the part of the house. The windows are of different material, which we submitted, so they're smaller, some of the windows. If you look at a bit here, you have the 9/9s, and now we're going to 6/6s. So in terms of that respect, that's what's changing.
Okay.
Bob Adams, do you have remarks? We saw this last time.
No, yes, I did see it last time. The roof has been changed to metal on that. Am I correct?
No, it's actually the current approval is for the metal roof.
Yes.
The applicant is proposing to change that from where this metal roof you see here to this, the dormer cedar roof.
Right. Okay.
Val? Comments?
No, we like this. I like this version that they presented last time, so no comment. I thought the improvements were good. He simplified the window configuration. So no, looks good.
Steve, do you have comments?
I think it looks really nice. I'm glad you changed the roof to cedar. Are the windows made of wood?
They are.
Wait, Stephen Gabriel, I'm sorry.
I'm so
I meant-
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know the wrong Steve.
I'm sorry.
We're not going to the public yet.
Sorry.
Yes, Dean, I like it a lot better.
Yeah, they've done a great job with this. Okay, are there any comments from the public? Mr. Gambrell?
Anyway, I think it looks really nice. My only two questions, and I did email the questions, just I was trying to be good. The brick chimney seems so much more appropriate to the period of the house than stone. The stone feels very aspen to me. And so that was my one concern or my question.
Any other questions from the public?
Well,
I like it. It looks good.
I have one more for the architect, if I could. Right now, and it's understandable because the lot is narrow, but back in the 90s or whenever it was renovated, the HVAC compressors are against the property line. Does this give us an opportunity to pull them away from the property line so that they're not so noisy? They're literally an inch from the property line, so the houses in there are really tight.
I don't know. I don't have that on this plan. It was on the previously approved plan. I'm not sure where they are. I could look into that for the board and Mr. Gambrell.
So my only consideration was whether you'd consider, a brick chimney is just Sag Harbor appropriate. With that said, I have a stone barn, so,
Right.
Brian DeSessa, that's a question for you.
I don't have an answer to that. The stone chimney was what was approved previously. There was no proposed change on the chimney.
I thought that was on the agenda for tonight. That's why I joined.
So the stone chimney was approved previously. We were carrying that over to the in the revisions. So the chimney itself hasn't changed from the previous approval. That's not a new material on this application.
So I thought, an attorney sent me a letter and I thought it said that you were changing from a brick chimney to a stone chimney. Are you proposing to keep the existing brick chimney and then have a stone chimney?
That's correct. So the brick chimney on the front house is existing brick, which we're remaining under the previous approval. This chimney was proposed a couple of years back to be stone, which granted approval. We weren't changing that at this point.
Oh, okay. That's what it said on the application in the letter that came out, was that the agenda for tonight was to change from a brick chimney to a stone chimney, that you wanted to, when I read it, it said that I thought you were demolishing the existing brick chimney to change it to stone.
No,
Okay, so that's clear. So let's go back to the AC units. Now, as far as being grandfathered, having the ACs on the property line, I don't know where that stands. That's a building department inspector. I guess we'll follow up. I guess Brian will follow up with the building inspector and see where that stands.
I will. Yes.
So we'll leave the AC units open for the moment. And are there any more questions for the Brian DeSessa regarding this project from the public?
No.
Mr. Gambrell, did you give your address for the record?
Oh, sorry. It's 53 Glover Street.
Thank you.
And I can let you know, Mr. Gambrell, where those are proposed to be once I check with the building department and the applicant.
Great. It's just that now that you're setting back but it's very beautiful, by the way, but now that you're setting back that wing, maybe that would be an opportunity to repair that issue.
Absolutely. I will look into that.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so I think what we'll do is we'll go to a vote on this, but we'll exclude the AC units for clarification. Do I have a motion to approve 41 Glover Street as submitted, excluding the AC unit locations?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great.
Who
Thank you very
seconded?
much.
I did.
Hi Val, how are you?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And the next one is 37, make a motion to open the public hearing for 37 Glover Street.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you.
Good evening, members of the board. Brian DeSessa, 2462 Main Street, Suite 7, Bridgehampton, New York, attorney for the applicant. We've been here a few times as discussion, and last month to then put this on for a public hearing. The application is to demo the existing house at this time, and we would come back to the board with a proposed house at a later date. This has been reviewed by the village historian. The house that exists there has been determined not to be the one of historical significance that previously was thought to be the case. So I'm here to ask for approval to demo the existing structure.
Al, do you have comments?
I'd like to see, can you put something on the screen as it relates to this project?
Absolutely. So what you're showing now is the site plan for the site of the house with the drone shots and aerials as to where its location. We don't have a proposal for a new house that's being worked on now. We're just looking to clean the lot, wipe the lot clean going into the winter, and then work on. We have DEC permits in place. We have harbor committee applications pending, and then we would be appearing before this board first quarter of next year as discussion is anticipated to start reviewing the process.
All right.
My understanding was that the code actually didn't allow you to demolish structures without an application for reconstruction before the board for them to consider at the same time.
Wasn't my understanding.
No? Okay.
I can look.
I'm going to look right now.
Yep.
But you can hold the public hearing for sure.
Zachary,
Yeah,
can you just give a synopsis of your review of the site?
sure. Well, we did a site visit at least a year ago, prompted by an application to demo the building. And we had a pretty thorough inspection, not only exterior, but in this particular instance, it was kind of essential to go inside the house and to really look at the structural framing and other details to determine whether or not it really was of any historical interest. And it's my belief that it was mistakenly identified as an older structure, which is identified in several historical maps, but it appears as if that building had been taken down at some point and rebuilt by what is presently on the lot. So what we're looking at is not of any historical merit.
Right. We took
integrity.
several board members with Zachary. We were in the basement.
Yeah.
We were in the attic. We were throughout
Yeah.
the house. So it's a thorough review.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Zach, just out of curiosity,
Sure.
since you mentioned that this is on a number of lists mistakenly, should we do any further documentation or anything like that whenever demolition is permitted prior to?
Well, yeah, I may have misspoken. It's what I was trying to say is that there, on at least two historical maps, there is the apparent existence, the footprint of a building, and that historical record was misunderstood by the person who updated the survey in 1994 and identified this as being that historical building identified in an old map. As it turns out, we did a pretty thorough forensic investigation, which is documented in a report that I filed, and there's some photographs, associated with that, which documents that in fact the building that stands there today does not appear to be the one that was identified in the historical record. So I think the record is pretty clear.
I think your answer to my question, which shows my ignorance, was yes, you have pictures and you've documented it. So thank you very much.
Sorry to.
No problem, Zach. Okay.
Bob, Adams, do you have any comments?
None whatsoever. I see it being demolished.
Judith,
Zach
comments?
and all of his.
Judith,
I'm sorry, I just joined because I had trouble connecting. I didn't get a Zoom link, and I just joined and I don't know what we're talking about.
37 Glover Street, that house we visited about a year ago with Zach.
Oh yeah, that's not historic.
Right,
Yep,
we're
that's the one.
discussing the
Mortensen.
demolition approval for that.
Right.
Mor-
So
Mortensen
I thought we had said that it was all right to demolish it because it's not old.
It's a public hearing because it's a historic site, so.
I would
Yeah.
like us to wait to hear what our lawyer says.
I know, but she's working on that. So Mrs. Dearman, what are
I
your
thought she was
comments
ready.
regarding
Well,
this?
I'm gonna wait till she tells us.
Oh, I have it. I was referring to section, it's section 300-13.5 E4. But it applies to contributing buildings or landmarks. So it says before approval can be granted to demolish a building, the board shall require that plans for proposed new construction or other use of the site be submitted and approved. So you wouldn't normally
You don't have to.
approve of the demolishing of a structure without plans for the new structure, for a contributing or landmark. But that's the crux of the case.
So
before.
this is not, this
That's
house is
a
not,
landmark, right.
this house is not, so
That
I'm
section
fine.
does not apply.
I'm fine with it being demolished.
Okay, are there comments from the public?
No.
Does
Nope.
anyone have anything to say regarding 37 Glover Street and the removal of this building? Okay, I make a motion to close the public hearing for 37 Glover Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you. Okay, is there a motion to approve the demolition of 37 Glover Street?
So
I'll
moved.
make that motion.
Is there a second? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you very much. Okay, so I guess we jump to old business, Carrie?
Yes.
20 Bay Street, please.
No, go 32 Glover Street. You want me? I sent the updated one.
Okay, let's go to 32 Glover Street, please.
I'm going to recuse from this.
Okay, thank you, Val.
Good evening, members of the board. Brian DeSessa, attorney for the applicant, 2462 Main Street, Suite 7, Bridgehampton, New York. My colleague Haley Willis was here at last meeting, received some feedback from the board as to some direction. Let me pull it up on the screen share. Again, the house is located at 32 Glover. We had done a site visit just to refresh the board's recollection that it's a, I'm going to get this right, post-war house at Glover Street, small house. We're looking to make an addition to it. We had some comments from the board, which included reducing the connection in terms of massing, reducing the peak height, reducing the ridge height, and how to make this more a cottagey in feel or relative to the cottage. So what you see before you are those revisions incorporated into the plan. So the roof, the connection here, this small piece has been reduced in height. The total peak of the proposed addition has been reduced in height approximately 3.5 feet. By dormering the sides, we bring it into a relative feel of the cottage in terms of from the streetscape as to how it looks. With the simplification of the window package on here that I'm circling, it's not to be confused with any kind of historic resemblance, but with the bank of windows does relate to the cottage type feel as some of the members had suggested. So this is the revisions based on on what we were here last at for the board's consideration from the streetscape. So as Ms. Long had asked, we had reduced this ridge height by a little over 3 feet. We cut this down because previously this was connecting. So to now add more of a pause or punctuation, but still keep the proposed and the part to remain in the same family of each other as to aesthetics on the street.
Bethany, do you have comments?
I feel that the newer is maybe still a little too fancied up for me. I don't know if we need all the shutters.
Okay.
I would like it to look more cottagey. It almost looks Greek. But
Yeah.
that's my opinion.
Judith?
I think they've come a long way. But we need to go a little further. I agree with Bethany that if you could simplify the addition and maybe lose the shutters, it would help. Also, what's happening with the windows in the original cottage? They look like they've suddenly become very thin, or
It looks like it's bleached
I
out.
think those
and
are the
it's-
shutters, Judy.
Those
those
are
are
just-
the shutters.
Those are shutters. The
Oh,
windows are
Windows
bleached.
there.
Oh,
Those
I
windows-
see. Okay, yeah, better. I was afraid that we suddenly had these.
No, those are remaining. We're keeping all the original windows
Okay,
in that house per our visit, you know, with yourselves and the historian. That
Yeah.
is remaining untouched.
okay. So I think the
Yeah.
addition is an improvement over the former ones, but I think if you could work with it a little bit more to make it a little bit more cottagey, like the one that it's attached to,
Okay.
it would help.
Brian, do you have a picture of the existing bungalow?
I do, if you, 1 second.
Yeah, that's another thing to see.
Can you all see that now?
There, yeah.
So the proposal, this porch that was enclosed, we're keeping the porch, but we're proposing to unenclose it. So you'll see the original front. You roll back to that. So this is the porch, which is the same dimension. We're removing it, and these windows which exist will become the exterior wall.
Zach, can you
Yeah,
opine on the taking away the two windows and adding one
Sure.
single one, and then his rendition of the porch?
well, yeah, kind of quickly, I don't think we want to lose, this is a very modest building. It's a one-story house. There aren't all that many defining, architectural characteristics about it, but certainly that pair of 2/2 sashes on that attic story are apparently original, or 2/2 or 2/1. I can't quite tell from the photograph.
It's
So-
2/1.
Okay.
Like
So
the downstairs ones.
Right, so in the proposal, now we're going to a centered window, which is a 6/6. And I have a feeling that the new section, which has been scaled back, I think it's going in the right direction, but it still has a very distinctive Greek revival vibe to it,
Mhm.
which explains the 6/6 sashes. And now they're going back and informing a renovation of the existing building. I don't think that's kind of the right direction.
We can look at that in terms of the
Okay.
window. That's not a
Right,
problem.
that's kind of a minor thing. Certainly because the size of the property and the amount of new, that it allows, this smallish building is certainly kind of the tail that's wagging the dog, so to speak. But I think the objective should be that of preserving everything architectural about it that is a feature. And that would include that dormer. I know it seems a little awkward, but when we were upstairs, that south-facing roof dormer, that did appear to be an original feature. I would say toward this cottage discussion, if the proposed section of the house also had a porch, also had a hipped roof porch, it would break up that 2-story high facade. And if it lost the Greek Revival style doorway, which to me, that now becomes the predominant sort of street facing feature, that becomes the main door.
Mhm.
And in doing that, that kind of, again, kind of overshadows the existing house. So those are some sort of subtle things.
Absolutely, we can incorporate that in. So I'm happy to go back and
Those
take
are-
another track.
Yeah, I think that might get more toward the cottage feel rather than this appearing to be kind of a replica Greek Revival house.
So Brian, I think we're really, really close.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the volume of this whole project. Just picking up a little more of the vocabulary of the bungalow and just revamping your addition, I think will help out a lot. And that throws in the shutters and things like that, and all the comments that Zach made. But I'll run through the other.
And we're absolutely willing to do that. So, yeah.
Bethany,
I agree with you, Dean.
Steve.
So just, Brian, just one quick question. So looking at the original house
Yes.
and the fencing, I really don't remember this clearly, even though I drove by it today. The fencing, there's no street there as there is pictured in the rendering, right?
You mean the picket fence?
The picket fence, the stockade fence. In other words, to the left where we're looking at a car,
Yep.
that's a driveway.
Yes.
And then the rest of the house is not visible from any other direction, right? I was just curious about what, if you have another rendering for the back or the sides of the house.
I do have a back rendering.
Okay.
So this would be the back. You wouldn't see, this is that stockade fence, the driveway into the one-car garage would be there.
Right.
Again, this would be where the driveway is. So this would be your driveway. If you look to the picture I have here, this is the existing neighbor stockade fence.
That's what I was gonna say, that's a neighbor.
Yeah.
No, what I'm saying, we plan on, our proposal is to plant in front of the neighbor stockade, Mr. Williams, and
Okay.
the driveway would be over there, but yes,
Okay.
that's correct. And then there is no picket fence on the property. That's something we're proposing in the new project, which would come with a full landscape package once we can get through the house, I should say.
When
No,
you
I got
actually-
you. I wanted to see how the connection was treated from the rear. So thank you very much.
Absolutely.
When you make the connection or the.
Right here with a porch
Let me
area.
see.
Uh-huh.
You look at the front rendering, the front of the house. Right, can you go?
Yep, going up.
The fence? The fence looks much further from the house to me. I mean, there looks to be a lot more front yard
This
than
is a
there really
perspective.
is.
So, yeah, it's the perspective and the
Yeah.
proposed
'Cause the
addition
house
is
is much closer to the sidewalk.
Yeah.
correct. So if you look here, this is the existing house where it is to the sidewalk. The new addition is back. So you will have more of that front yard, but the
No, I was
perspective
actually looking at the cottage as it is now.
got it. The cottage
But I'm
remains
sure
right
it's
there.
just perspective, as you say. It's
Yeah.
just the way it's presented.
Could I say something, Mr. Chairman?
Please.
I noticed that there's a walkway going to the addition, but there is no walkway or gate to go to the cottage itself, which seems peculiar to me because it's the main structure and it's closest to the sidewalk.
Well,
Oh,
Brian, to Judith's point, that comment was made earlier about this bungalow should be the primary element in this design.
We can,
So-
that's an easy amendment. We can do that. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I think that's good
Good
observation.
idea.
Bob Adams?
I was looking at the side of the the bungalow. Are the shutters on those windows on the side?
No.
Brian, we're looking on the left side of that.
Over here? I'm sorry, I'm just, what's the question?
On the proposal on the
Yes.
side? Okay.
These are, our shutters, which we're going to revisit the shutters based on the board's comments.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they go very well with the bungalow.
So
No.
Brian, this is an impressive project, so hopefully that was helpful.
Very much so. Thank you, board.
Carrie?
Yes.
I looked at my email. I don't know what version. I don't have the newest version, the latest version, I guess you would say.
So
Can you help me
20
out with this,
Yes.
the agenda tonight?
20 Bay Street is next.
What number was that on the old agenda? Does anyone know?
One that we just did,
37
Mine-
block.
one that we
Are you
just
gonna-
did was number 7.
Are you going to ask the audience about questions about that project?
We don't generally ask the audience for questions about projects unless it's a public hearing. So
Got it.
I'll entertain your question.
Well, it's just that that giant tree is so important on that street, and it doesn't seem like the new building gets even close to being problematic. So I wasn't sure, in the rendering it doesn't show, and I was wondering if that was something they would consider keeping because it's rather important on the city.
We'll follow up on that. Thank you. Okay, 20 Bay Street, please.
Do we need to, for did we vote on?
Motion.
No,
I'm
they're
sorry.
coming back with some, I'll
or
make
did
a
we
motion,
vote?
sorry.
I'm asking, did we vote on 32 Glover?
I'll make a motion to table 37 Glover.
I'll second.
All in favor?
32.
32,
Yep,
I'm
32
sorry.
Glover.
And there's,
All
who
in
was the
favor?
second?
I did.
Bethany.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
We got to move along. 20 Bay Street, please.
John Tarbet's on.
Hi, John Tarbett for the applicant.
Great.
Good evening. We've been here a few times. This is revised plans, hopefully incorporating the comments from last time. Some of those comments were that you wanted to have us show on the site plan that the landscaping was held 3 feet off the property line. There was a comment that we should have the deer-proof version of green giant arborvitae along the street. There was a request to add on one sheet of paper what was proposed originally and approved versus what was built. There was, I think those might have been actually the big, you wanted us to show that the plantings as individual plants rather than as just like a mass of plantings. And I think we accomplished that in our submission that you have before you tonight.
Can you share a screen with us, please?
I didn't intend to share a screen. I could try.
I will do it in 1 minute.
Okay.
So if these are the same plans I saw, I'll just set this up. So we could start with the elevations of this project and the changes that they've made. So I asked for an as-built of the facades of this building because there have been changes from doors to windows, windows to doors, etc. So let's just go through that with the board. And then maybe you could, and then the landscape, if you could explain the plantings, I did not see those updated, but we'll start with the elevations. So Carrie, we want to see I think that was towards the end of the set, right? With the as-builts?
You'd have to go to the next page. Well, you just went past.
Back.
This one?
One back.
One back, yeah. Oh,
No.
Next page.
no.
No.
That
There
way.
you go.
Can you walk us through this?
So let me just orient. I'm gonna line it up with what I have on my side.
I don't think that this is what we talked about. Because I looked at the plans, as Dean, as I'm sure you did too, and at the top of the page was as it has been built already. And then on the bottom was what we had approved, I believe.
Yeah, there is, I
that's-
think towards
So
the back.
so you'd be looking at the two.
I think
you-
towards the back of this set, there are two
Yeah.
pages.
You'd be
Yeah.
looking at the same part of the house on one paper, and we're not.
Correct. This is the wrong screen. It's further down.
Carrie, can we just go down?
Yep.
That's,
This page?
no,
No.
up one,
No,
Nope.
up one.
it's possible that it's a different file.
Hold on one moment.
Yeah, it's a back one. It's a comparative, there it is, comparative elevations.
Hmm. Yay.
Tell me when.
We're just seeing your file folder. We've noticed that, okay, great.
There you go.
So I think this is what you were asking for. We showed what was approved on top. On bottom is the what's actually built, and then the change for ease of viewing is bubbled. So on this particular page, it would just be the entry. It's actually on this page. It's actually hard to notice any change. There's a slight change to the windows around the door, although it's not really visible.
Bethany, do you have any comments about this sheet?
No.
Judith?
No,
Zach?
No, I think this was a modest adjustment to an earlier approval, so I don't see anything.
Bob?
I have no changes. It's fine.
Val? And Steve?
I'm uncertain. Where does the change? I don't really see it.
On this
On the-
particular page, it's hard to distinguish any change. It was a slight change to the window casing around the door. It's not something you'll probably be able to tell the difference.
Okay, next page, Carrie.
So this is what's this, the view from yeah, this is the view from the back. If you were standing behind the house, staring towards Bay Street, and let me pull that page up on my. This one. So the changes would be, oddly enough, what was previously approved on the left-hand side. You see the staircase sort of stopped in midair. That's a probably, hopefully you can approve that change. The staircase now reaches the ground, and then the big change is that the windows got bigger. Is the way I would probably describe this page. There was basically privacy windows approved, and they became normal windows. And then in the middle of the house, again, it's just 3 windows replaced 1.
I think this is self-explanatory. I'm just asking, does anyone from the board have a comment? Okay, next page, please.
That's it for this.
For the changes. Yes, and here we go, the east elevation. Okay, can you speak to this one, please?
Yep. This change, having been to the property, to me at least, looked a lot nicer. This is a relatively big change though, because what we did is we there were wait, this is there now. Yeah. So what wire windows are replaced with shorter windows. Right. This shows it as 3. Right. Now what is it? Now it's right. How would you describe that? I'm trying to come up with a way to describe what's there.
Okay, so we have some doors that were changed to rectilinear doors, and then we have windows that were changed to doors. So are there any comments from the board regarding these aesthetic changes to this building?
I would just say that the window that is above the doors has been changed. Yes or no? It looks bigger. It's taller. Correct?
Yeah, it got transom windows.
Yeah, it looks like they missed that. Yep.
Okay, and it's. I mean, maybe it's just the way the picture is.
No, you're right, and this screened in porch as well. It's got a couple changes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I apologize. I didn't do the actual bubbling. but
Yes, I'm looking for those bubbles.
I apologize.
Okay, so the
eye
board-
caught something we missed.
The board's got this in memory. Are there any comments regarding the aesthetics of the new version? Okay, great. Okay, so let's move to landscaping, please.
So landscaping, I'll wait for you to get to the sheet. I think it's under updated plans. This might be one. Right. It's a good sheet to start on. Is there a chance to blow that screen up?
Okay. So regarding our last meeting, the comments were along Rector Street. You have osmanthus and you have emerald green arborvitaes. And the osmanthus, we were saying for safety issues, that is a very sharp plant and could easily grow over the sidewalk. And then we were making comments about the arborvitaes, I guess going north by the gate, that could be problematic. And then on the Ricem side, if you're walking down Ricem, going towards the north, you can easily see into the pool area. So you had grasses and you have hydrangeas. So we asked that, we were hoping to see some sort of change there. And as far as the pool is concerned and the stairs and all that good stuff, you provided us with elevations and sections and all that great information that, you know, we can ask the board how they feel about the overall of that. But these other issues were highly concerning for safety issues and aesthetic issues. And I don't know, see a change there, or I don't know how we could handle that with, I don't know. But I was hoping that you would come up with a solution for that.
So we may have, it's not that we may have, we definitely made a mistake in that the site plan that we submitted to the board, the hard copies, do show that the osmanthus is held 3 feet off the property line. We emailed the wrong version to you. So this version is 100% accurate to what we submitted, except for the fact that it doesn't denote that the plantings are held 3 feet off the property line.
But the question was, the problem was that might be the wrong plant because it's a dangerous plant, which will quickly grow over the sidewalk. And this is something that's traveled. People are going to Dockside and all the restaurants. And there was a question about, you know, the problem is that this landscape went in before we had a chance to state our opinions on these things. So the problem was the arborvitae on Rector and then the osmanthus on Rector and Bay Street.
So the arborvitae was switched. I think the last time on Rector, the question was whether the arborvitae would be the type of arborvitae that would be eaten by deer. So we switched it out to be the type that is not eaten by deer. So you see where it says 5, those arborvitaes are the type that are deer resistant, whereas we left the ones inside the property. I think you said you didn't care about the ones inside the property line.
Okay, thank you for that.
And then we thought that by keeping it off 3 feet off the property line, it would reduce the risk to anybody. But we'd also be happy to either have it a condition. I guess a condition of the approval could be that it's maintained at 3 feet off the property line, not allowed to grow towards the property line.
I'd have to ask. I mean, I think even a privet would be nice. I'd have to ask Liz how we handle that, because this is, although you can keep this into a nice hedge, but this plant can grow rather large and rather wide, and it's sort of I think like a safety issue. So if that can be covered in a covenant and a resolution somehow, I don't know, but maybe we'll just ask quickly Liz to let us know how she thinks about that. Liz?
So your concern is that the plant's going to grow over the sidewalk?
It's a giant plant. It can be kept at this size, but someone has to commit to maintaining it at this size. It's like razor blades on a plant, and it will quickly encroach on the sidewalk, the public way.
John, are you willing to do any sort of covenant on that, or
Yeah, I think there was, yeah, Liz, there were two things we do, right? We could just make it a condition of the approval, but I've also, I mean, I tend to resist having to record covenants against properties, but if that was a concern, then, you know, if you thought that was appropriate, we'd be happy.
This is
You don't
not a
want to
tick,
change
this
the
is not,
plant?
What's that?
Isn't it easier to just change the plant?
I don't mind recording a covenant. I'd be super
Okay.
easy just to make it a condition of the approval, but I'm not fighting you on recording a covenant. We're okay recording.
as far as I'm concerned, and I'm gonna go through the board, this walkway is highly traveled, especially in the summertime, and it's a dangerous plant. So I think, you know, it needs to be maintained, and if someone sells this property and somebody else buys it and they don't maintain it, then we really have a public hazard. So I really want this, basically,
okay.
I would like it to be changed out.
No, I think that's a good point, that it's that a covenant would protect against a future owner. They would see it before they bought the property, they would see their recorded covenant that it has to be maintained 3 feet off the property line.
And then finally, the visual access to the pool area from Riceham. Someone can walking down that street can watch what's going on in this pool or be disturbed by it or whatever. There's a privacy, public, private, you know, interface here that is concerning. So again, instead of the hydrangeas, you could have a privet hedge. Instead of the grasses, you could have something that's going to maintain some sort of visual barrier between this public and the private use on this lot.
Well, if you look at that sheet that's up right now, right where the cursor is, a good portion of the pool is tucked in to the house. So from Riceham Street, you actually can't see the pool because the house would block it. But then you have those 3 plantings there, which are meant to, and again, the pool is essentially ground level. And there's a 4-foot privet fence on the street. So somebody would have to stand at the fence, because otherwise the fence would block what's below.
You know, this whole job is as built. You know, it was built without our approval, and you're fighting me over, you know, some visual barrier that I think is important. We all do, as far as like these public high volume activity areas. You have 3 grasses, you have 4 hydrangeas. You know, and this project's been before us forever.
We actually switch it out. We actually switch it out to grasses, and not hydrangeas.
This is my view on this. That pool should be hidden from Riceham if you're walking down the street. So a grass is not going to handle that, or a hydrangea. So
I guess we would just say whatever you just tell. We thought we were doing the right thing, but if you don't like, I guess tell us what you want there. We'll put it there. It's not that important.
Okay.
I didn't mean to be fighting you. I was just trying to explain that you can't see the pool. But
I walked it today. I walked the whole property several times today, and I just think we hold everybody to the standard. You know, I think at a minimum, like a 5-foot privet hedge would suffice. You know, 1'6" on center. But I am going to go through the board on this. Val, comments?
I'm going to defer to your expertise with the landscaping. You know, to your point, if the pool is properly screened, then it's a non-issue.
Mrs. Dearman?
I agree, Dean, with your take on the hedge. It needs to have a hedge or better plantings than.
Steve?
Our sidewalks are narrow, and anything that I think would be hazardous, that's a popular place for people to pull up and the kids get out of the car, et cetera, et cetera. I would just suggest strongly that they consider changing out the plants as opposed to having a covenant for maintenance. So I feel strongly about that. And also that similarly, young adults don't necessarily want to look down on a pool, or they might want to, just the opposite, I should say, but that they should be afforded more privacy. So I strongly concur with your 2 comments.
Judith?
Yeah, I agree. I think those bushes that you call the razor blade bushes should just go away and be replaced with something more friendly. And clearly the pool should be not be able to be seen, especially since, you know, people might want to actually peer in there.
Bob?
So, yeah.
I think that privet hedges would be the best thing by that pool. As you said, some 5-footers would be
All right,
fine.
so before I go to a vote, I'm gonna try to sum this up, if you don't mind, applicant. We need some sort of screening from Rysam to the pool, this is really a non-issue regarding this whole gigantic project. This osmanthus hedge, this is a highly traveled and like Steve said, a very narrow sidewalk. I think it's not the proper plant for this application. No one's going to jump onto this property with these plants, but this, I think as far as, I think safety really trumps here. I think you could switch this out at a low cost, not to a privet hedge or something like that on both sides, you know, on the Rector side and the Rysam side, and being at a minimum of 5 to 6 feet or 5 feet to
Can
take
I
care of
ask
the.
a quick question, Dean, about the front of the house, right,
Sure.
is on Rector? Is that correct?
Right.
So, the hedges can be any size, correct?
Well, they have a 4-foot wire fence, and then they have this giant white fence behind it. I guess that's another 4 feet,
Okay.
but it's on top of a retaining wall.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you know they could keep it at a minimum of 5 feet, or you know somewhere in,
Right.
in
If there's a fence, it would have to be 3 feet, correct?
no 4 feet.
4, okay,
It's there already.
all right.
All right, so applicant, how do you feel about what we've suggested?
I think the real goal is to give you what you want and move on. I understand that we did do a lot of this work without asking permission first. So we brought it upon ourselves. At the same time, we're just trying to finish the project. So is there a chance that you could approve it with those changes?
If you could replace the hydrangeas on Rysam, and I'll ask my board if they agree, and the grasses in their orientation with a 5-foot privet, 1.5 feet on center, and on Rector 2, starting with the green giants on Rector, wrapping around on Bay Street with, you know, a 4 to 5 foot privet hedge, 1'6" on center. I mean, that's where I would go with that. Bob, how do you feel about that?
You don't like the
I
green
think
giants
you're-
either?
No,
Oh,
no,
sorry.
it's just the osmanthus, the grass, and the hydrangeas.
Osmanthus, yes,
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
right.
Valerie, how do you feel about that?
I think that would be good. Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, as I said, I strongly support. I just have a question. Was the razor plants, were those a security effort? Were those for security?
I actually don't know the answer to that. It was done without anybody asking me.
So John, the next question is, you recorded what Dean has summarized, right?
John, I took down, if you're asking me, I took down notes that you wanted the privet hedge. Essentially, it's a privet hedge everywhere, not the hydrangeas, the grasses, or the osmanthus.
If everybody agrees, I'll mark up the plan and send it to you, and then you can let us know how you feel about it.
Well, to answer your question, Mr. Chair, I agree with you.
Judith, comments, final comments?
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay, applicant, we're ready to vote on this with those changes. How do you feel about that?
The applicant is in agreement with the changes.
Okay, boy, this has been a long haul. Do I have an approval for 20 Bay Street as proposed and with the conditions?
So moved.
I second that motion.
Hold on, Mr. Adams.
Okay.
We have all the members here. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I apologize for having the work been done.
It's a nice project. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Carrie, What's next?
23 Redwood. I emailed you again, so I don't know if you got it.
23 Redwood, please.
I think hold on, let me get her phone number.
I'm already on the call. This is
Okay,
Sandra
great.
Foskey. Hi, thank you.
What number is this on the agenda?
4,
Number 3.
but on our agenda.
Not
that
on
we have,
mine.
It's number 4, right, Jude? It's 20.
No, 23 Redwood.
Number 3.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, we'll just do this again. Please state your name for the record and please tell us about your project.
Sandra Foskey, 23 Redwood Road.
Okay. And what are you planning to do with this project?
I
there a space?
actually am not 100% clear of, all I was told was that there was an issue with our front door being changed. The contractor, Stratton Sellinger, was not able to get on the call, so I am participating. The front door of WLNG radio was switched out it was faulty when water was coming underneath the door. So when we made the repair to the facade, because last year a truck drove through the building, we kept an opening. We were going to make that opening into a window to balance out the building better. And the contractor spoke to Tom Priato and told him that it required ARB approval. And it seemed that we weren't going to get any insurance money in time, which we still haven't gotten. So we decided to just repair the outside of the building as is. And Stratton switched out the front door, same size, just to a new door.
Can we
and
bring up the photo, please?
Side light panels.
I'm bringing it up.
Now, the building inspector told me that there are lights that are also incorporated into this situation?
No, those are the same lights. We just had them scraped and spray painted. Those are original lights to the station. They're in the same place.
Where?
On
This is
either
the only
side of the
picture
door,
that we have.
yeah. Those are the same existing lights that were always there since we had the building. We just took them down and spray painted them.
Is there an existing photo?
This is the existing photo.
No, that's the as-built.
With the lights, or I understood the door was the issue, not the lights are the.
Okay,
I don't believe
the
that
original
they're
door
existing.
to this building. Do you have a picture of the original door or no?
No, not from recent. I mean, there is a picture of someone in front of the building, but the building was red and you don't see the door completely.
Okay, Zach, do you have comments about what has happened here?
Well, it's not a contributing structure in the district. It's outside of the district. So I think it's really just more of an aesthetic decision than anything about
comments?
Well, it's not a very attractive door. But as Zach says, it's not in the historic district, and I guess it's up to the radio station what kind of a door they want.
No, that's installed already. We're looking at something that they just put in.
Well, I would prefer something that looked different.
Okay.
It looks a little bit like a prison.
Val, Florio, comments?
It looks appropriate to the building, which looks like a storage facility of some kind, and it is what it is. And I don't take any offense by this door. It's a little unique, and I'm inclined to approve it.
So you don't feel this building looks like it stores humans?
The previous door was a 9-light. The previous door was a traditional. It was a 9-light 2-panel with side lights.
Thank you for that. Steve, comments?
I think they've been through enough stress, and they did this under under extenuating circumstances, I think they can keep the door clear on it.
Bob,
I think the door looks fine.
Bethany?
I'm good with the door.
Okay, great. So I make a motion to approve 23 Redwood. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you very much.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Thank
you,
you.
Val.
May I just say that our door is a mahogany Dutch door. So it when it's open, the idea of it was that you could see the DJ booth. It's pretty nice when it's open, but sorry about that. We did not know. Yeah, and it's mahogany, so it's more weather resistant than what's there.
I just take your approval and run.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
89 Brandywine Drive, please.
Ian, this is the one.
Excuse me?
This is,
Yep. 89 Brandywine. Can you bring up the drawing?
yes, I can.
While Carrie is doing that, I just want to ask, because of my agenda, is 323 division on our agenda tonight?
It should
And
not be.
5 green?
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Okay, so no 323
327.
and no 323 and no 5 green. Correct, Care?
Oh, 323.
Okay, we have to keep moving forward. I'm sorry for all the,
Well, I
Computer
just,
problem.
I'm just trying to make sure that we don't.
There's
miss
no
it.
323. There's no, hold on, 323 may be on.
it should not be on.
No, 323 is off, 89 Brandywine, 368, and 5 green is off, yes.
And 89 Brandywine, that's what we're looking at now, no?
Yeah, we're going on 89 right now.
So it is on.
Yes.
Okay. So we need to go back at some point, Dean. That's all I'm saying for 5 green, at least the way my thing is set.
No, 5 green.
5 green is not
5
on.
green is off.
Okay. Thank you.
At 3:59, you guys got all new and updated
Okay.
agenda.
It's
I gotcha.
okay. It's fine. We just need to move forward.
They just said at 3:59, they issued a whole new.
Okay, so I'll set this up. The applicant's not here. We approved a landscape plan at 89 Brandywine at our last, not the last meeting, but the one before that. And she wanted to take out several large Leland trees. But there wasn't a replacement for removing those trees, and what is behind those trees is a pool area and a second-story deck. So we've asked for, a plan reflecting what would be replaced when they take out the Lelands. So that's what this plan is. In their application, they're also asking for a fence. We're not entertaining the fence because it's non-compliant. So this is for the replacement plants and approving the removal of the Leland trees.
Or we make a motion to table.
We have to, if I want you to see it, if it comes up.
Okay.
Is this it, Dean?
We're just see your file. Okay, so where it says on the, I guess, the top right of the graphic, this is what we approved 2 weeks ago. And then these new plants to the left of the existing landscaping at the top of the page are the new ones. She's going to remove the Leland trees that are there in that space and add these plants. Comments? Val, comments?
Nope, no comment. I'm fine with the application.
Bob?
No comment.
Judith?
No comment.
Bethany?
Oh,
My comment is she's putting in 14 to 16 foot cryptomerias, 12-foot Nellie Stevens. So it's large material. So she's done a nice job with this. I would make a motion to approve this without any fence or gate, and also the removal of the Leland trees. I believe there are 5. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I need
Opposed?
some, but I need to be some clarity on, I'm sorry, I thought when you said you took the Leland out, that these are the plants that are replacing the Leland?
Yes.
Okay,
And the previous plan has noted that they're taking out the
I got you.
Leland.
okay.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
So that was
Approved.
approved. The next
Or
one is
Wildwood.
for Wildwood, please.
I have to recuse myself.
Now, Liz, well, hold on, Bob. Don't disappear.
Okay.
Liz, can he hang out and maybe as an adjacent neighbor make a comment regarding this
No.
property?
So if he wants to comment as a neighbor, he can wait until you call the public, at a public hearing, to speak on behalf of himself as a neighboring property owner. Otherwise, if he feels he should recuse himself, whenever any board member recuses themselves, they should not hang out and participate in the room or in the vote, or even you should just sort of turn off your video and mute yourself.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Okay, for Wildwood, please.
Bob, I'll text you.
That's me.
Okay, great. Can you share a screen with us? And you are, please?
I don't know how to do that.
I'm going to.
Can you state your name for the record?
Jake, last name is Vanderwatt.
And you are?
I did the drafting for the client.
Got it.
Okay.
Good. So last time, you guys were okay with the pool and the size and everything about the pool. The only issues were the screening. So I went back to the landscape architect, and he suggested that we do the screening 6 to 8 foot high green giants, spaced at 3.5 feet on center. So that's what we did. I also located the pool equipment in the corner there. And the other thing was the screening, the fence. We needed to give you detail about the fence and the gates. So that's the next screen.
Okay, hold on one moment.
So the client just wants a regular 4 foot high horizontal cedar fence. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Self-closing gate. So I just pulled this from the internet.
We'll talk about the go through the board and the orientation of the fence in that. But as far as the we really need a detail for the fence and the gate, like the height and the materials and the spacing and the size of the boards and things like that for the record.
Oh, you need more than this?
Then that detail of taking a picture and putting a title under it is not a detail for the fence.
Oh, okay.
But if we could, if we can get a couple quick
So
comments.
you want me to do some drawings for it?
Yeah, just so we
That
can,
that
there's
means
something in the
there's some height.
file that says, you know, it's wood, it's 4 feet high, it's made out of mahogany. Can we go to the first page, please, Carrie?
Sorry, just bear with me. My computer just went down.
Now, I'll throw this out to the board and the applicant. Is there any way you can soften that hard angle of that fence or somehow? To me, it just looks like you put the pool in there and put a rectilinear fence around it. You know, this is driving along Brandywine.
Yeah.
That corner there where you're coming from the house and there's the gate going towards Brandywine. That's a kind of a funny detail to have the 4-foot fence run out like that and make a 90-degree turn. It's too bad there's not some way you can finesse that, like round that out and plant the round or something. You know, it just looks like you're trying to put a pool in and just slamming the fence in.
Okay, which corner are you on now?
If you look where the house is,
Yeah, on the east side.
And you walk out the front door and you look to the left, there's a gate, and then that corner right there.
Okay, that corner on. Okay.
There's some way that we could ask the board too, if you can, I guess, integrate this pool and this design with, you know, the streetscape. You know, because like I said, it looks like you're driving down the road and it's like, wow, someone had to put a pool in, and then they just put, you know, wrap the fence, you know, picking up the same signature of the pool without any regards to how it's going to look aesthetically.
Okay, so maybe around the corner, like you said, or 45 degrees or something.
And plant it out with something, but I'll run it by the board. Bethany?
Maybe if the fence was brought out closer, like it's along the property line there in the right-hand corner. Maybe if it went along the property line and then around, it would, you know, it would just, because it goes to the end of the property line on the other side. On the north side, I guess, right? But I mean, to me, I understand what you're saying, Dean, and whatever they can come up with that would make it not.
I think it's an aesthetic issue from the streetscape side. I mean, if it were me, I would take the Brandywine fence line and crank that right up to the pool.
Right.
To make, you know, you want your house to have a presence. So I'm not really sure what that fence is doing where it is, except giving.
So you actually think the fence should be closer to the pool?
Yeah, very much so.
Oh.
Somehow it's got to integrate that space with the rest of the property. Val, comments?
I think it's a good comment because the fence is solid. If you look back at the picture that he provided, you know, it is code compliant, but it's walling in the property to some degree. And I think if it were softened, in looking at the landscape plan, most of the vegetation is to the interior of the pool side. And I think it would just be a little bit, you know, to your point, not as in your face as you drive down the street. If there could be, you know, some semblance of plants, especially that one corner. But that would be it.
Just at one corner, though. Okay. Just put some plants in front of it.
Whoa.
Soften the corner.
When you're driving down Brandywine, just imagine that this property is working with the rest of the properties. So now when you drive down with the way it's proposed, you're like, wow, you know, that's a fence, and it's like almost like something commercial going on with this property. So if you could somehow integrate your design to work more harmoniously with the streetscape, that'd be great. So it's not just rounding it. I would crank the fence back and soften it like Val said with plantings or whatever. But if you could try to just, rethink that a little bit, that corner, I think just is an issue for some of us.
Okay.
Steve?
You, excuse me, sorry, you want the fence on the outside, not on the inside not swap the screen, the hedges with the fence. Would that work?
Even if it was just the plants themselves and you had a wire fence on the inside, it would still look quite strange. You have this rectilinear thing that's really not working with the rest of the streetscape or the property itself. It's a very harsh element on this property.
Okay.
So we're concerned from the street and of course the aesthetics of the property. Steve?
Yeah, so to say what I agree with in a different way, it feels kind of industrial in terms of the design. And, that neighborhood is a combination of walled off properties, but also properties with kind of open and welcoming yards. And I think what we're trying to say is that it can look more kind of inviting and less industrial.
And we need to have the fence. We can't just have the hedges.
Sir, this is a design issue in how you lay out that fence and how you lay out the hedges. The fence or hedges the same way. You have a very harsh condition visually and aesthetically.
Okay.
You have a pool and then you offset the pool by X amount of feet and stuck a fence around it. We're just asking you to make this work a little bit more with the aesthetics of the streetscape and the house itself. It looks like, it's like a parking lot with a fence around it.
Okay.
Judith?
I agree with everything everyone's saying, that whatever can be done to soften it and make it look less commercial would be good.
Applicant, this is not a harsh criticism. This is a very difficult site to make this work. You have 2 front yards. I understand this is the smaller the space, the harder it is to design and make it work, but it's something that's very important to us.
Okay. Yeah, it's my first time here, so I'm a little bit new, so I'm still learning.
Okay, great.
What you guys need.
Bob Adams.
Oh, he's recused.
Okay.
Right,
Okay, great.
remember?
Okay. So hopefully those comments are helpful. And then an architectural detail of the fence, telling us how it's built and what the materials are.
Okay. You don't have such a problem with the type of fence, or that maybe we can use a different kind of fence that's less solid, maybe more.
It's the layout of the fence. Like I said, even if it was an arborvitae or a privet hedge, the way you have that laid out is exactly how we all kind of reiterated in a different way.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to table?
Yeah, it's just to find the address.
4 Wildwood.
4 Wildwood.
Is there a motion to table 4 Wildwood, please?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
16
And
Walker
for the
Ave-
record, the next meeting is December 17th.
And what's the deadline for that? To hand in?
Monday.
This coming Monday?
Yes, and then the next meeting is January 14th. If you
And the
can't
deadline
get
for that?
stuff. The deadline is that 7 days prior to the meeting.
7 days prior. Okay, thank you.
Business days.
Business days, okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good
16
night.
Walker Avenue, please.
Hi, it's Jason Simmons for the project on 16 Walker Avenue.
Great.
Hi,
Can you tell us
Jason. How
about
are
it?
you?
Good, how are you?
Please explain.
The last time we met, you weren't happy with the screening on the rear end of the property, specifically the east side. So what we did was we put the excuse the pronunciation, the Thuja plicata standishi, which is the green giant. I put that along all three sides now. We're gonna plant them at a height of 6 foot and a width of approximately 1.5 to 2 feet wide. They're gonna be planted 3 foot off center. The eventual goal to achieve is to allow these arborvitaes to group together to form a hedge. And then the particular species of evergreen grows on average of 2 foot per year. And the total number of plants to be installed is 160.
Okay, can you just run through the rest of the sheets for us? Just
It's a copy of the, they had to go through ZBA. So it's a whole copy of the ZBA. The main thing is we're putting a proposed pool in the backyard. The fence was already approved. We already have a permit for that. So the main goal was to achieve the screening that you guys wanted. And we did have, the last time we did privet hedge on the back, on the south side and not on the east side. I went over it with the homeowners. They love the green giants. So, which in essence, I think are going to be bigger and more screening in the future. So we're going to do green giants along the entire back of the property on the south, east, and west side.
Is there a motion to approve 16 Walker Avenue as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
152 Division Street.
Hi. Hi, how are you? I'm Nicole Adams. I'm the architect for the Division Street cottage. I can share my drawings. Carrie, it might be easier for me to.
All right, great.
If you
I will let you.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. So I was here last meeting, I think November 19th, requesting a renovation of the exterior for the existing rear cottage of 152 Division Street. At that time, I think the board felt that they needed to come to the site because there was, it was a contributing structure to the existing 1842 main house. So we met on site December 1st and took a look at the cottage inside and out. And I'm waiting to hear what they thought.
Zach, do you have any comments?
Yeah, what was necessary here, when we did the site visit, we were invited into the building, which was helpful because we could see the structural framing that had been previously exposed. And it appeared to all of us that on the visit that the framing did not appear to be all that old. It didn't seem to be historic. I've checked the Sanborn tax maps subsequent to that, and it appears from that record that the structure was put up probably in the 1930s or thereafter. So in my estimation, this although it's picturesque, I don't believe this is a historical building, and I think it's been misrepresented in the nomination form. So any exterior alteration to this that is aesthetically pleasing, I think is certainly feasible and doesn't detract from the historical property.
You're a wealth of information. Val, comments?
No, I think it's a nice little project, and you know, it's compatible to the house, the cottage feel of the house. So I like the application.
Great. Judith?
I think it's great. I was one of the people who visited it, and it's very nice, but it's not super old. And Bethany knew the person who lived in it, so she provided more history to it.
Yes, and we agreed that I spoke with, it's actually the granddaughter of the people that owned it during the 30s, and her grandfather built that building.
Oh, wow. And do you know what they used it for?
He used it as his plumbing business.
That's great.
Where he did his work. And this, I thought was very interesting. The privy was actually brought from North Haven. It had been moved. The family had bought the house, I guess, prior to 1920, I believe. He didn't build the little the building in the back until it was his work. It's where he did his work, prepared things and stuff. But the privy, they had bought a house in North Haven also, and they moved the privy because it was on the North Haven property. They moved it because they just loved it and brought it to.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
It's a
Thanks,
wonderful
Bethany.
privy.
They're making us look good tonight. Bob,
I'm trying.
I think it really looks good.
Steve?
I think it's fine.
Okay, great. Well, that's pretty positive. So do I have a motion to approve 152 Division Street as submitted?
I make that motion.
Is there a
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.
Great application.
Yep.
All right, new business. 29 Cornell Road, please.
Good evening, members of the board. Brian DeSessa, 2462 Main Street, Suite 7, Bridgehampton, New York, attorney for the applicant. I'm going to screen share. You had seen this project at a different scale when it required variances. Property is located in Redwood. These are existing photos of what the current property looks like. And what the applicant is proposing to do is to add a one-story addition on the east side and a one-story addition on the west side to complement the house. This is the elevation from the rear of the house. This is the street elevation if you're looking from Cornell toward the house. And the applicant is proposing to remove part of the existing garage. If you look at, let me scroll down. Where's the, one second. So this is the existing house. This area here is proposed to be removed and renovated. This is the aerial of it. So it meets zoning as presented now. It is sided to match the materials of the existing house. This is the one-story addition, which would be included. This is the main house, and this is the one-story addition to the side and rear of the house. There also is a landscape plan which was provided. This gives you a better overview. So this is the dark gray is the existing house. This is the proposed addition. The structure that's currently here is being demolished, and a patio is being laid in place of it. And this is the one-story addition on the other side. The bluestone is what the patio is proposed to be. There's a copy of the proposed pool, planting, screening, and fence plan have been provided to the board for your review.
I'm just going to throw a quick comment out there.
Yeah.
It's just the second story railing. It looks like that's for like a mini person. It does. It
There's no deck up there, so it's a decorative feature. Yeah. I could talk to the architect and applicants about that. Not a problem.
It seems like it looks like it's some sort of railing, but then it's used as some sort of ornament, and I'm not, for some reason I find it aesthetically jarring. That's my comment. Judith?
Basically, I think it all looks reasonable, fine. I think I agree with you about the decorative railing, but it looks good to me.
Steve?
He's
Mr. Williams.
muted.
I'm on mute. Yes, I think it's fine. I agree about the decorative railing. I think that, Brian, if that's a flat roof there, that could be very attractive to some young kids or to some people who lean over a railing that's not code. So it just might be issue of, a liability to make it the appropriate height.
I'll speak to the applicant. There is no access to that area, so they may be able to remove it or change it since it was only a decorative feature. So I'll speak to them about the board's concerns. I do understand from a safety point,
right?
If they were to climb out a window or something along those lines. So
that's what I was thinking of, actually. Yeah.
To eliminate, absolutely. We can address that.
Now.
Yeah. I think that the addition, being primarily one story, is great. And, you know, I think the rail, if architecturally, if they did, you know, have the rail, the post, the newel post on the second floor portion would line up with the post on the downstairs. I think the rail is drawing a lot of attention, you know, unnecessary attention to the addition. If, you know, the applicant wanted to, they could put a metal roof on this, keep it very shallow. And, you know, maybe from a cost perspective, that would be a trade-off. You know, they're not looking at a rubber roof, and maybe that might be a much more appealing.
Wow, this board is firing tonight. I love it. Excellent, excellent. Judith.
I already commented. It seems good.
Bethany.
I'm in agreement. You know, it's just decorative. It doesn't need to be there.
Yeah, I like that roof idea. Bob?
Yeah.
That roof, the rail, I couldn't go along with that.
Got it. Okay. So Brian, hopefully that was helpful.
Absolutely. We would ask to table it. We'll make those minor revisions and come back. If we could on this one for the next meeting, if there's available space. If not, I understand it's January 14th.
Yeah, I think we can definitely make room for you.
Brian, if you have the stuff fairly soon, we can get you on for next week.
All right, great. I'll let the board know by Monday. If we could hold that spot, that would be wonderful. I appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
I'll make that motion to table 29 Cornell Road.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, thanks a lot. 14 Cove Road.
That's Brian also.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board. Brian DeSessa, attorney for the applicant. Haley Willis was here previously, and I had been their host. There was an approved project on this site that the applicant, I'm sorry, I hear a lot of background noise. I don't know if you can hear me.
I got one in 2015 with PSA of a 5.
I don't know what that is. I apologize.
Hold on, let's. I can find it. Okay, I think it's done.
All right, thank you. So 14 Cove Road, we had proposed, let me pull the house up. There was a modern house which has been previously approved here. The applicants or new owners wish to change the aesthetics in the house that was proposed there. It's in relatively the same footprint. This is the proposed new house from the west and east elevation. So this would be from the street. We incorporated, per the board's comments, all the materials and sizing and updated the landscape plan from LaGuardia as per the board's comments for more specificity with respect to that, how it would be planted out and how this house fits, in my opinion, better into the neighborhood than the modern. This is more of the feel of the Redwood waterfront area. I believe those were some comments or similar comments in sum and substance from the board previously. So we incorporated the comments. The board has seen the project. I would take questions at this time and answer any questions or comments, take comments from the board.
Can you review the landscape plan? There were a lot of
yes,
details missing from that.
Yep. So we have incorporated into the landscape plan now our elevation lines, our planting plans, and we did provide specimens and materials as to what would be included in that. This being the street side, so the pool is shielded from the adjoining neighboring properties by the house on one side, the house on the street side, and on this side by mature existing plantings, which are part of a non-fertilization, non-disturbance zone with the Architectural Review Board. There's a large existing tree that proposes to remain. Drywall is included here. The red dotted line is where the previous house and plans were. So we're retreating from that. So you create more of this natural area. The front in terms of the plantings and the driveway as to how that would lay out. We gave examples of what the 4-foot high fencing would look like, the pool with patio surround, and the driveway pavers with sod joints for specific detail on that.
All right. So the last time, this looks great to me. But as far as this the fence is concerned, this idea of taking pictures and using that as a detail is a non-starter for me. So, and we did ask for how the steps work, going to the front door and, call out some of these materials, that the walkway going to the front door. The plantings, they look great. They don't have to stay the 3 feet on the side, just on the street side property line. But we did ask for more details for the gates and the fence.
So we can give a diagram of that. We did provide just some additional from the architect, but
yeah, that's
understandable.
It's kind of protocol just to stick that on a real architectural detail, so it's easy to discern what's going on. So if you want us, we can comment on the house.
I would, if we could move forward on the house, that would be great.
Okay, Carrie, can we start with the elevations and go through the board for comments?
Okay.
Val, how do you feel about this west elevation?
In general, the entire project, has taken a new turn, and I think, as Mr. DeSessa points out, this is something a little bit more consistent and harmonious to the general look and feel of the neighborhood. So I'm good with the application. It's a little bit more progressive in terms of the design. It's sort of a modern take on a coastal style home, but I like it. I think that, I don't want to use the other house as the basis to use as the measuring stick, but this is a good design for what they're proposing.
It's almost a transition between that highly modern thing on the water. I think that's 10 Cove, and this is kind of integrating back into the neighborhood a little bit between modern and what exists. Judith.
Yeah, I think it'll fit in quite nicely, and I like it's modern, but it's got traditional aspects, so I'm in favor.
Bob.
I'm in favor of this. I would like to know, is that a metal roof you got on there, Brian?
It is. Okay. It is. It's a galvalume steel standing roof.
Okay.
Yep.
It looks good to me.
Bethany?
I think it's a good design.
Steve?
I'm going to disagree with everybody. The house is on a knoll. It's neighbor to the, I guess it's the south, or to the right of the house is down kind of low, as is the neighbor to the left. And I don't know, this looks to me like being on that knoll, it's going to emphasize the height of this. And I think it's going to be kind of imposing. Brian, do you know what the roof line height is?
I know I think we were at 29 feet to the ridge. I will confirm that for you.
Okay. So that's kind of my thought, that maybe if they could take the roof line a little bit down, they're well inside the sky plane with pyramid, but it just seems to me it's going to be on top of a knoll, and the way the property is graded, it's graded up even from the public street. So those are my comments.
I have a question about the roof. Is that going to be reflecting sunlight into people's eyes?
No, it is it's a plush mill finish, which is like a flat finish. So that is my understanding of how that worked. It's not a high gloss or shiny that will reflect that.
Yeah. Okay.
Carrie, could you just run through the 4 elevations of this thing?
Brian is sharing.
I'll stop sharing. Sorry.
Nope, you can share, Brian.
Hey, Brian.
This is so we have the western elevation, the eastern elevation. This is the rear of the house that faces the water.
And what is the GFA of this house?
The GFA of this house is under 3,000. It's about 29 and change. I can give you the exact.
And
but
just
it
for
was-
reference, what is there now? What is the size of the house there now?
I don't have that answer right now. I don't want to guess on what the size of the house is. This is the gross floor area of this house was the same as the previous approved house in terms of the volume. I don't have the existing house size.
Now, by existing, you mean what was there
Previous.
before we approved anything?
That's correct. That's correct.
And has it been knocked down yet?
Not yet.
But you have approval for that?
Yes.
Steve Williams.
Yes.
So do you want cross sections going north, south, east, and west on this thing so you can see how this relates to the property?
I would appreciate that. That would be great.
Brian,
But you don't need my vote to pass it, but I would appreciate it.
Brian, can we entertain that?
So cross sections of the topography?
Yeah, and how this structure sits upon the property.
And particularly if we could see it in relationship to the neighbors, the one under construction.
So the one under construction is actually, even though it sits in a gully, that height is I believe to be higher than what our roof is. But I'll have those diagrams drawn. If you've been down there lately, there's a large house at the 10 Cove site. But I will get the architect to put those sections together.
Brian, I agree with you, absolutely, but the 10 Cove site is at the water's edge and it's down probably, I don't know, at least a 10 or 12 foot change in elevation.
More, yeah.
From the road.
Yep.
So although it's there, it's not as imposing as a house on top of a small knoll on top of a hill.
Understood.
Okay.
So my takeaway is that I think a lot of the board members feel this is a very nice design landscape wise, and as far as the structure is concerned, it's just a matter of understanding exactly what's going on with the site. So if you could handle those comments.
Absolutely can.
I think you have a favorable idea of what's going to happen on this property.
Absolutely, we will do that.
Okay, great. Is there a motion to table 14 Cove Road?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
47 Howard Street, please. 47 Howard. Okay, we're gonna second.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, 47 Howard.
Yes, Anthony Vermandois, 68 Union Street.
Tell us
Okay.
about your project.
All right, so this is just, you've already approved this project. This is just to add a gas lantern to the front facade, which will replace two existing sconces with
I'm
one
getting it.
lantern.
Okay, I didn't know who was handling it.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
If you
There you
could
go.
call up that's the lantern there. We're doing the small version of it, the 14-inch version. And if you show the other document there, that's the photograph of the front facade. That shows where it's located.
Let me get that.
Yeah, there it is. So there are two little lanterns there now. We're just going to replace one of them with a gas lantern.
Is
Bob
the
Williams.
is the gas lantern about the same size as one of those lamps?
Yes, but it has the little kind of, you look at the photo there, it has like the little flourish to it, the little kind of curled hook thing. But the lantern itself is about the same size.
Bob Adams, do you have a comment on the on these
No,
lights?
what do you approximately, what's the mounting height on those there? The one-
I think
Is it-
it's about, probably the bottom is about 6 feet or so.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah, it's a 6/8 door
Neat,
for sale.
okay. All right,
It's a remove and replace, but with these new lights.
they're fine.
Okay.
Could I ask a question? Zach, do you have any information on gas lamps in general and when they came in and when people started using them and on what kinds of houses?
Yeah, but the hour draws late, so without going into all the detail, I find all of this to be inappropriate. So I don't know why those lanterns were approved in the first place. A house of this modest proportion, and I think the name on the catalog cut was French Quarter, which suggests something down Louisiana way.
Mhm.
These lanterns are utterly inappropriate for Sag Harbor, French Quarter. So, not that that's relevant, but that's the name of it. Unfortunately, the house already has them, but which is inappropriate historically. Are these? Well, they're going to feel larger because they're mounted on something more elaborate, which is going to project them off the house. I'm not. I see we have 2 gas lanterns on the agenda tonight. I don't think we should have any gas lanterns. So that's my historical perspective.
So when, because you've seen them around town here and there, when did
Yeah.
the gas lantern arrive here, or is this some new?
Yeah,
thing?
probably in the 1980s.
Ah.
This is not a thing. Okay, this is not a thing. Okay, Sag Harbor gets street gas installed. They get a gasification plant built in the 1850s, and it was quite early for a city to have gas piped. But that was for commercial applications. That was for street lights in the commercial area. Some of the wealthier families, like the Huntings at the Whaling Museum, had gas piped to their house by the 1870s, but it's extremely rare. It's really an urban, it's an urban lighting, sophistication that really has no place in our village aesthetically. So when you get a new house being designed with this sort of pretentious detailing, you can understand it, but they really have no place on being applied to historical buildings. It's just not compatible.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Steve Williams.
Wow. Yes, Zach, you are a wealth of information.
Sorry to have gone on so long.
No,
I'm glad you did.
It was not a criticism, it was a compliment.
No, thank you. Yeah.
So let me be clear. They currently have some gas lights, some electric lights installed, and they want to alternate gas lights for the existing electric. Is that
That is correct. There are currently 2 electric lanterns there mounted on the house, and we're proposing to just have one of the gas lanterns, not 2. So only one of them would just go away, and there wouldn't be anything there, and then the lantern would replace the other one.
I guess one would be better than 2. So,
and the okay, I don't have a strong opinion about this, but I find it interesting. That's all.
I have a strong opinion, which is the same as Zach's. I don't think gas lamps are appropriate in Sag Harbor.
Okay, great. Val?
Well, there's plenty of gas lamps on Glover Street.
Yes, that's a problem.
And it looks a little bit like, the Enchanted Village when you see these little glowing lamps, but I don't take issue. I don't find it, in any way offensive, so.
Bob?
I'm gonna say approve them because, it's not natural gas. We got an incandescent a light bulb in there. Am I correct?
No, I think it's real gas.
No,
Yeah.
the original one. What's there now?
The original, the existing is electric and the proposed is gas.
I wouldn't propose any gas. I would say electric, okay. Not gas.
Mrs. Dearman?
We could
I'm
do a gas.
okay. I'm actually okay with the gas lanterns.
Anthony, I guess my comments are this is very edifying, but if I think the bracket, and I'm not sure how far this lamp is projected off the building, but there is a 1 foot maximum. It's just I do too have a problem with the bracket. If it's gas or electric, I have no issues. So do you want us to go for a vote, or do you want to just rethink this a little bit?
I think probably, and because the same issue is going to come up with the next project, but I think that we'll want to just revisit this with the homeowner. Maybe come into a compromise here and just do something that's just mounted directly to the wall instead of having the squiggle thing.
Yeah, maybe something not so grand.
Right.
Well, just from a point, I'm not sure the manufacturer, I mean, you've got fire that you're putting on your home, and I think you need some clearance off of the wood framing. I don't know enough about the product, but there could be a purpose to this bracket in keeping it off of the structure. And I think that the applicant would have to find that out, but there's a functionality. You've got flames coming out of this little glass box, and putting it right up against the house is probably not recommended.
There is a code that you cannot be more than a foot off, and that I don't think the code was thinking of gas lamps when it was written. But I just think it's a little flamboyant, as has been pointed out. So thanks a lot, Anthony, for looking into this.
Flamboyant.
Okay, so I make a motion to table 47 Howard Street.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you. Opposed? 22 Dennison Road.
That's me, John Landis.
Great.
And I am the owner, 22 Dennison Road. And Carrie, I can take over the screen if that's okay.
Good.
Can you see that?
Not yet.
Can anybody see that?
No.
No.
No? Okay, you know what? Hold on a second. I just got to share the screen. Share screen. And
There you go.
can you see that?
That's the agenda.
See the agenda.
You can't see that. Okay, hold on a second. I'm sorry. Let me take that down. Carrie, why don't you go ahead and pull it up?
Okay.
I don't want to hold you up. Can you pull it up, Carrie?
Yep, got it.
Sorry.
Okay. Do you see it?
No, let's see his.
No, we're still
agenda.
on.
Yeah, he has to unshare his
We're
screen.
still on, Mr. Landis.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
Okay, hold on.
I gotta stop share. Okay, I stopped the share on mine.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. No worries. Okay.
We're looking at text, Carrie.
Here we go.
You see it now?
Yeah, we can see text though.
What
Can
do
you
you
go down
want
a
this?
page?
Can you
We see
bring up
text.
the site plan?
Okay.
It's yeah.
Tell me what page you want.
Just the site plan from above, Carrie. It's the big file.
This is all we have.
You just see your file folder.
Yeah, we just see, can you open the file? There we go. Okay, so back up, I'm sorry. So, yeah, back up to the site plan. That's good, that's good. And so what we're doing, my friends, is this is 22 Dennison Road. We're at the corner of Susan and Dennison. And what we'd like to do is change out the old windows. And also, we just want to put new surface on the existing deck. We're not going to change the design of the deck. We'll put mahogany on that. And then adjacent to the deck, on the Susan Street side, kind of behind the house there, you can see a small shed that we want to add inside the existing fence. We don't want to move the fence. Around the pool, the present pool surround is old cedar, probably 15 years old. We want to replace that with a hard surface, would be bluestone and brick. Those are the substantial changes. Also, we want to move the driveway. The driveway right now is at kind of at the bottom right of your drawing. It's gravel, comes in off of Dennison. So we'd like to put in a new driveway closer to the house, and then put it, add a curb cut. There are no other substantial external changes to the house other than we want to put up a cedar siding, shingle siding, I'm sorry. And then I can show you down below what the new windows would look like and what the new front exterior would be like. Carrie, can you go down a bit? Keep going. So stop right there, just back up a bit. So right now you can see on the left side, on the bottom, that's facing Dennison Street. So that's facing east. There's a little garage. The way these houses were built, these bungalows, they had garages built in or not. And in this case, it was built in. Right now, the previous homeowner took the back of that space and has a little bit of a den. We'd like to take the front space where that garage door is and expand that den into a den/dining room, which would be off the kitchen. That existing bay window in the front, we're going to replace, but keep the same basic structure. There's a bay window on the side. We'd like to also replace that old window. And then if you go down, Carrie, I can show the new elevation of what we'd like to do. Right, yeah, just back up. I'm sorry, yeah, further down. One more, yeah, that's it. If you can enlarge that a little bit, Carrie. Okay, and then, so that elevation in the upper right, that is facing north. So that's 2 bedrooms side by side. Right now, they just have single windows on the corners. So we'd like to replace those windows, put in nice, current weatherproof wood windows, add those 2 interior windows. So each bedroom would have 2 windows. And then the elevation on the left, that's south facing. The only change there is we're just replacing that bay window. That is the west facing on the bottom there, the backyard. That's a little bit misleading. The 2 windows on the left, we will not have. The 3rd window from the left is the existing bathroom window. That's going to stay. The slider is moving a little bit to the right. That's an existing kitchen window, and the other slider, and we're replacing those 2 sliders. And then go down one more, Carrie. One above that. Right. So that's the Dennison Street side, again facing east. And in this case, we'd like to add these additional replace the old windows, which are essentially that garage door, and then the small windows we had on the right side with these wooden windows with wood shutters. Replace the bay window with a newer one. And the only change that we'd make to the entrance is that we would add a post and then bring out an overhang. So it's essentially extending the roof a little bit, an overhang, and then covering that extension so you don't see the patch, because the rest of the roof is in good shape, with this kind of metal additional piece. I think it's kind of a zinc look to it. And then if you scroll down one more, Carrie. The other thing we'd like to do is right now there is not very healthy privet that runs all pretty much the perimeter of the property on the Dennison and the Susan Street sides. We'd like to take out that privet and then add a little picket fence, which would be about 15, 20 feet in from the property line, a little gate. This is just obviously a computer rendering. And then plant that not with hydrangeas, but with deer-proof perennials that would come up maybe a little bit above the fence from behind. So this is just, this is a computer rendering of what we'd like to have as a result. The windows on the left would be a double, not a triple, and shuttered. So there would be that symmetry of all four windows all the way across.
So I'm going to start with the board regarding aesthetics, and then as far as like details and calling out materials and sizes and window schedule and all that other good stuff, we can talk about at the end. I'm going to run through the aesthetics with everyone. Judith?
Is this picture here what your house will look like when it's done?
Well,
except for the left window, which you explained.
Yeah, and the left window is going to be just like the other three. That triple is going to be a double.
Right.
And you know, it would be nice to have those planters. I don't know if that's something that we need to get approval for, but when John Bjornen put this together, he just he added those little nice little planters.
Yeah, I think it looks quite nice. I think you've come up with some nice ideas.
Thank you,
Bethany. Bethany Dearman.
I know. I don't know. It seems a little busy to me, but it's fine.
Bob Adams.
It looks good. Where were the garage that?
The garage, Bob, is where those triple windows are now. So that's going to become the den, and behind it would be the dining room, little dining room.
Okay. Is that why? That's why you have the triple windows, you're saying, right?
Yeah, but it's not. That rendering is not really accurate. If you flip back one, Carrie, you can see the actual intent.
I see.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, looks good to me.
Steve Williams. Val.
You know, I like it. I think in general.
I'm sorry, I was muted.
I'll let him go. Yeah.
I would just say it might be a little busy, but I think it's really charming. I think it's attractive, and I like it.
Val?
Yeah, I think I would go along with that. The windows are, proportionate to the scale of the building. A little bit bigger but otherwise it's an improvement, and I'm in favor of it.
So the planting along Dennison and Susan, if you could put that on the site plan, what you actually want to use. And then as far as the windows and the color of the paint and the zinc and all that, if you get a little more detail that for our file, that would be wonderful. And what that post is, just a little bit more detailing on the drawings would be great.
Okay, yeah. Some of the previous drawings, I think we have some spirea that we had talked about using. I mean, any recommendations you would have, I'd appreciate. We're just looking at things that would be deer proof, because we're going to take out, I was trying to figure out what to do with the privet, and I think the deer are really doing in the privet. So I'm sorry to lose it, but this will be a good 20 feet inside of that. and we would just want to appropriately plant behind that little 42-inch picket fence. So again, your recommendations, but the only thing I think I showed on the plan earlier are some butterfly bushes and spirea, because those are all deer proof, right?
Nothing is.
Nothing is.
So if you could document all these things on a plan that you're, so we can approve something that we have all the information on these plans would be great. And then as far as the curb cut, I mean, the driveway looks great to me. If you could just tell us on that plan as well what the gravel is. And if you could verify with the highway department that, the curb cuts, okay, we can't approve something. We're not curb cut approval agency or department. You have to talk to Tom and the highway department regarding that.
Would I need to have that in place so that you guys can approve?
No, we can write in the comments that, this, our approval for the driveway is based upon approval from highway department and the building inspector.
Okay.
That's not a problem, but if you could handle that window schedule and a little bit more detailing as to what you're presenting here, but I think you have something that's favorable.
So you'd like me to present at the next meeting exactly what the windows would be, the materials?
That'd be great.
And
what
can
are plantings you're gonna add to that? But it sounds like you have a board that's ready to approve this.
Right. So good. And I could get on next week's meeting?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I make a motion to table 22 Dennison Road.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 258 Main Street, please.
Oh.
258?
Yep.
Okay, please go.
Wait. Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yes.
No, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So Anthony Vermandois, 68 Union Street. All right, so when we had the initial approval for this project, I think we said that, we concluded that I needed to come back to you with the more information on what the original chimneys looked like once we had done some investigation into them. So we have done that now, and there is an image there that shows kind of a close-up of the, that's it, of what was underneath the stucco on the chimney there. You can see that it's basically it steps out like half a brick for two courses and steps back in, and that was basically it. It was a pretty simple original detail. What we think happened on the house is that it was originally built with 4 chimneys. There were one chimney on the north side went all the way down to the basement and up to through the roof. Second one on the north side went all the way down to the first floor and up through the roof. And then on the south side, there was one, that's actually the photo right there. I think if you can scroll a little bit over to your, I can't see it, but you could see the chimney butt there on the south side. And Zach, I think you had pointed this out to me when you were up there, is that there's a hole where the probably like a stove or something went into that chimney butt, but the
Right.
chimney itself doesn't go through the roof. And then not visible in that photo, there's a fourth chimney butt, which I think was purely decorative for symmetry, because it doesn't appear to have ever had
I think that's right.
a stove.
Yeah.
So what we're proposing to do right now is, I think that stucco was put on the chimneys. I think they were falling apart, and what happened was they put that stucco on the 2 chimneys that were still functioning to basically hold it together, and then they just took the other 2 down. What we're doing is, once we take that stucco off, the chimney's just going to fall apart. So we're going to rebuild those 2 from the roof up, and then, to the same original detail there. And then also, we would like to rebuild the other two as well. So there would be a total of 4 chimneys, all nice and symmetrical and balanced.
Can you show us, is there another picture for your proposed drawing?
Yeah, I think there should be elevations there. I think it's the PDF chimney. Well, you can, yeah, PDF chimney there.
Go up to.
The one in the middle.
Yeah,
One?
yeah,
There,
that one.
There.
There we go.
Yeah,
that
if
one.
you zoom out there,
Thank
yeah, so
you.
that's the chimney there. So just a running bond brick, a 2-course step out and a 2-course step in.
Zach,
And
can
then
you
you can
comment?
see in the front elevation.
Yeah, no, I think this is, it's not clear in the application. It says rebuild the existing chimneys. So I guess the clarification is that, Anthony, you're reconstructing the tops.
Right,
to these
correct.
chimneys.
Just where it comes
Right.
through the roof. The actual chimney stacks
Got it.
themselves are okay. And we
Okay.
think we might even be able to get a couple of the fireplaces functioning again. But
Hmm.
the point where it came through the roof, it's just the stucco is all
Right.
that's holding it together.
Right, that's fine.
That's what the
Yep.
application is, correct?
Yep.
Val, do you have comments?
Well, I think, Anthony, if you're going to choose a brick, for the board to approve, is it brick that, is consistent with the house? Is it a?
Yes,
blend?
yes, we
Okay.
did. We did find I mean, if this was an in-person meeting, I could have physically brought the brick, but we have found a brick that's very close to the brick on the house, which we're using on the pool house and the garden wall, which was previously approved by this board. So we'll use the same brick on the chimney.
Right. And you would use the same grout joints and thickness and color.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I
Everything as
think
close as we can get.
that's an important detail to note because
very
masons,
important.
need direction, and it can go horribly wrong if the grout joints get a little bit too heavy. And I think
Yeah,
the
we've
color-
got a good mason working on the project, so he
so
gets it.
the point being that if it's something that has consistency to the house, because mason without direction, as I said, grout joints can vary and so can the color. But
yeah,
since it's an important house, I think if you reference the veneer, that would be fine. Yeah.
Judith?
Anthony, do you have any pictures of what these chimneys are going to look like?
As far as I thought I had an elevation drawing in there somewhere of the whole facade.
And are you going to have, are these chimneys going to be functioning? You're going to have fireplaces?
Well, the two that are currently, the two on the south side will not be functioning. One of them appears that it wasn't even functioning originally. It was just purely decorative for balance. The
Yeah.
two on the north side, which are the ones that we're rebuilding, are from the roof up there, are we think we can get a couple of the fireboxes working again. Yeah.
Good.
Bob, comments?
I really would like to just see what the chimneys will look like.
I would like to see what they look like also.
Steve?
I think we all would, but if this is a representative reenactment of what was there originally, I think it's fine.
Can you explain further, Anthony?
I mean, I don't know if it's possible here. I mean, I could probably just email Carrie the elevation right now. If you want to table this for a couple more people ahead of us, that's fine with me.
Well, I just want to know, in other words, you're going to copy the style of the chimneys that are there now?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so they'll look the same.
Well, they won't look the same if you walk down the street today. They won't look the same because they're covered with that stucco. What we're saying is we're going to make them look like they did originally before that stucco was applied.
Which is red brick.
Right, correct.
With white mortar.
Correct.
Okay,
The
sounds good
project.
to me.
Okay.
It's fine.
Bethany?
So basically, there are 2 chimneys now, correct?
Right.
And you're just going to to build 2 others on the other side of the roof.
Correct. We're rebuilding the 2 existing ones from the roof up, and we're rebuilding the 2 on the other side, which existed, we believe existed originally, but they've been gone for a while, decades.
Okay, I'm good.
Zach, does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds perfectly right. But I'm glad Val brought up the point, not only in the mortar, the thickness of the joints, but also, as I think Judy mentioned, this should be white. Of course, there's good precedent for all the brickwork there on the house already.
Yeah.
Very important that the mortar be the proper mix of white Portland, not gray.
Mhm.
Anthony, we're going to meet here next week. Can we table this and you could just put all that pertinent information on your detail?
Okay, sure, I can do that. And I have one, we also had on the application there was the, these gas lanterns, which, I had kind of naively thought that was the appropriate thing to do. Based on what Zach said on the last project, I've been corrected, I guess.
Whoops.
So
Yeah,
I guess we can obviously revisit that because we want to get this right.
Well,
I think my question would be, what would be a, an appropriate light for that house? I mean, for
It's
something.
an actual lantern, right? It's not, I mean, a post. It's not connected on, it's not on the house, right? Am I right in that? It's
It says it's at the front gate.
at the front entry gate, so it's a
The-
post.
Yeah.
And I mean, from my perspective, this house definitely looks like it belongs in New York City. So
Right.
I don't have a problem with. I mean, I'm anxious to see what you show us.
All right. Oh, maybe we can clarify that at the next meeting as well.
Okay, that's great.
Well, I would also like to say that even though I just said that I didn't like gas lamps in Sag Harbor, this is the one house in Sag Harbor that I think a gas lamp might be appropriate on because of what Bethany said, which is, it looks like a row house in a city. And from what I have heard, the guy who built it originally thought that Sag Harbor was going to be the next Philadelphia, and that the whole street would be brick townhouses, and he built that one, and then it didn't happen. So that is a house that should have a gas lamp, and I think, I don't know if Zach agrees.
It can.
Well, I think it could carry it, but I'm just concerned that, if you let one gas lantern out of the gate, you're going to have some
yeah,
they're already they're already out of the gate.
Okay,
yeah,
they're already out of the gate.
We got this.
We should try to stamp them out, except for this house.
Anthony, excuse me.
Yeah.
Anthony, so you're going to take our comments and we'll listen to your ideas next week.
Okay, so just clarify front elevations, full elevations, clarification on the mortar and the brick.
Right.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion to table 258 Main Street?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 14 Henry Street, please.
14 Henry Street?
14 Henry.
Yes, here for that.
Angela, are you sharing?
I can.
It's up to you.
I can.
Okay.
hold on one sec.
I just let you.
Hold on. Is this shared?
Not yet, no. And please state your name for the record.
Yes, it's Angela Inzerillo at 10 Ackerley Street. Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Should be sharing that now. Hold on one sec. This, okay. Okay. Rotating. We're referencing 14 Henry Street. We're looking at just well, rebuilding this existing garage that's at the rear of the
Just
property.
see your file folder. Do you have a graphic that you could share with us?
Yes, yeah, this, can you see this?
No.
You just have to say, when you hit it, you have to say, start share.
So, oh, start share, okay. I'm sharing, new share.
New share.
Okay, new share. This, can everyone see this?
No. Here, I can do it.
All right, Carrie, I feel like I'm like old. It's page 2. And we have Eric Hagerman. He's the contractor and builder for the project.
I'm just going to unmute him.
Okay.
Hi, Eric.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So the house is the second one in well, on Henry Street. This is at the rear of the property, and it's not very visible from Henry Street. And essentially, just let me know when everyone is able to see the screen with the existing photos.
Is this the page, Angela?
Yep.
Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
So there's some images at the top row of the front of the house, from the rear, side yard, front street. And then this is the second row are images of the rear garage.
I don't see anything yet, but
we don't see anything.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
There you go.
Right.
Angela, I got it up. Is this the right page?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So the top row is the existing house, main house. Of the first images of the rear yard, second image side yard, third image is the front street that's on a front yard image from Henry Street, and then at the back, this is the garage renovation that we're discussing. And the two things to really point out are at the little dog leg to the existing structure houses the pool equipment, which is not historic. So we're proposing to actually remove that portion and probably restore the building back to its more original structure, and either relocate the pool equipment or bury it. In this proposal, we were just saying we could bury it. And the structure, and Eric, feel free to chime in anytime, but the structure itself, the front of the structure is somewhat historic. There's the barn doors are just T111. They were rebuilt at some point in the 90s, and the interior, that's why I showed a lot of interior shots towards the bottom, just to show that this structure doesn't have too much historic integrity left because it's been renovated. So, and the rest of the only facade that has horizontal sidings on the front, the three other sides are all the T111 that are rotting.
Okay, I would like to jump in for a second. Zach, would you have anything to say about this structure?
Well, I'm glad to see some, excuse me, interior photos. From this perspective, it looks like it's been entirely rebuilt. I mean, I don't see any historical framing in there at all. So in 1994, when the nomination form was written up, it was considered a contributing building, but I don't know that the surveyor had an opportunity to go in to verify that, but there's nothing that we're looking at here that looks historic to me.
It's like it has a concrete floor. It's got a facelift.
Those are all lightweight dimensional lumber, very widely spaced. That does not look like an old structure.
Right.
Great. Okay, continue, please.
So our proposal, Carrie, if you could go down to the next drawing is, well, that's the existing drawing. Sorry, just one more down. Is that we would like to actually just remove that little adjunct structure that currently houses the pool equipment. So because it creates an odd condition, and then we'll rebuild the structure really in a more historic way. We're going to put on carriage garage doors, replacing them in the same place, same size, putting some bluestone on the interior, creating an apron, and rebuilding the roof. The roof is, as you can see from the photos, has been a little neglected. So essentially rebuilding the structure in kind in a much better way. And adding some windows to the one that the east elevation there.
Okay, can we see the eave details and the trim details and things of that nature? The window schedule?
Sure. The goal for us tonight was to basically ask if we can shear off the pool equipment space and restore the barn more to its original character. We're happy to submit those additional details, but one of the big caveats is to make sure we can just take off that pool equipment area because it's creating a weird condition.
Okay, I'll ask the board what their feeling is on the aesthetics of this structure, but we would require like an eave detail, window schedule. We'd like to know, exactly how this would be detailed out. Mr. Williams, how do you feel about the aesthetics of this project?
Well, I think the existing house is stunning. I really don't have enough in this presentation to give you an informed answer right now, so I'll take a pass on that.
Judith?
I'd like to see more of what it would actually look like. And also, is that little window at the top of it, is that something that is historic and somehow was saved, even though the whole rest of the building is not historic? And would you be saving that window?
Eric, do you want to talk about?
Yeah, the homeowner, Christina Zachariah, actually informed us on site that that window was inserted there sometime in the late 90s when they did some renovation on the main house. It just became a spare window that they popped in there.
So
no
it was the
historical
window
value.
that was in the main house?
No,
it was a new window in the late 90s. Yeah, it's brand new.
Okay.
From what I see on site is it's certainly all new construction. There's nothing historic there. It's texture 111 and 2x4s, 32 inches on center.
Yeah.
Val, aesthetically, how do you feel about this structure?
It's a huge improvement architecturally. The thing that's there looks like a glorified Home Depot shed. And what they're going to do is make it look like something that is very age appropriate to the house. And I'd be willing to vote on this today if it were a vote, but it sounds like other people want more detail. So,
Bob?
I can see, it looks good to me, except that part you want to get rid of on there, that pool area. Other than that, I think we can move on.
Yeah, so in the instructions for the C of A, we do ask for details. So, when we understand as a board what's going on with the details of these things, the window schedule, et cetera, and also as a helpful document for the inspector when he goes out to approve the as. So if you don't mind coming back with, it seems like you have a favorable feel here from the board. Just provide us with the details that we need, and we would entertain this next week.
Sure. We have many of the details. Carrie, can we get on next week's agenda as well?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool.
Great. Thank you guys.
Very much for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
I make a motion to table 14 Henry Street. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thank you very much. 4 Brandywine Drive.
Oh, sorry.
Angela.
That's me again. I'm back. So for Brandywine, Giles, are you there? He might not be there. This is the fellow from Martyrs.
Hi, Angela, I'm here.
Oh, you are? Okay. Hey,
Yep.
Giles.
Sorry. It's a long wait, but I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, girl.
Hi, how you doing?
Great.
Sorry, Carrie. I promise I'm going to be more proficient in this by the next meeting.
I got it up now.
Okay.
You guys see it?
Yeah.
So in this project is on Brandy, it's at the kind of dead end of the line, and where this new Curto and Curto house just transferred to the new owners. And so the new owners, in an attempt to kind of mediate the traffic sound from 114, which they back up to the 2 vacant lots that then back up to 114. So there's a fair amount of road traffic that they hear all the time. And so the pool house is both serving a function, but it's also to at least mitigate some of that additional road noise that they're hearing. And in this instance, we're going to, this is a new house in a non-historic area. So the idea, oh, I'm sorry about that. I should flip that. Thanks, Carrie. In this project, the proposal is to have 2 small structures, both basically open, and then connected by an open roof, where the clients will just kind of do entertaining. And then we're also creating a waterfall feature, also to kind of mitigate the sound, and also just to accentuate, they want a fire pit and a lounge area. So we're creating a little bit of a backyard oasis, with the main intent is to mitigate the sound. Giles,
Hi, Angela. Yeah, absolutely. It is. There's a traffic travels fast on 114 at that area, and
we got that part. Can you guys move? Can you move on with this? We got the noise part. I would like to see some details of the of the pool house, a grading plan. You have some existing trees in the back. How are you going to handle it? I think I've asked for this one to be on a discussion. So if you would like the board to talk about the aesthetics of the pool house and the pool and the layout, that's fine. But we're going to need some additional information, i.e. details of the pool house, the grading plan, and I guess there's 6 or 7 trees back there, how that's going to be handled. But if I would like to make this concise, because we have.
Why don't we just focus on the actual structure then? Because more, and I'm taking notes, so I'll should we look at the planting plan? The trees that you're talking about, Dean, are kind of individual. And Giles, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're like locust trees. They've been well contained, so they're already kind of compromised.
I'm sorry, you're talking about the trees are being removed?
Yes, is that what?
They're just scrap oaks. They're on their way out. The ground has been bermed up at the back there at some point.
Is there a grading plan showing that?
I'm sorry?
Is there a grading plan showing how you're handling the grade change and the removal of the trees?
Well, the grade change has already been done by the builder, and that those trees were welled, but not successfully because the trees are dying.
Carrie, actually, You can see it on the existing photos if you,
Doing, sweetie?
and on the existing photos there, sorry, just one page down. I'm so sorry, I'm not able to help with this.
Okay, so I'd just like to make this a little more concise. So on this, we can talk about the aesthetics of the pool house tonight, but as far as the landscaping is concerned, we'd like to know what trees you are taking out and how that grade, if you are putting a retaining wall, or how that's all being worked out. And as far as details are concerned, a photo with a bar underneath it and saying what it is will not suffice. There should be, details. So I would like to concentrate somewhere. If you would like to talk about the aesthetics of the pool house with the board and get their input, that would be great. But to talk about things that are vague it's not gonna be helpful tonight.
Sure. So in order to unvague the vagueness, you want to see a planting plan. Well, we have the planting, you want to see something with grade changes. Can I just mention one other thing, Dean, is that the pool house itself is going to actually serve as the retaining wall.
It would be wonderful to see the details of that, but if I would like to this should have been a discussion item because there are no details for us to discern what's going on. Aesthetically, how I'd like to redirect this is have the board comment on the aesthetics of the pool house. So if there's a graphic.
The construction details are going to be saved for the building and the inspector. So.
No, I'm sorry. We would need to see, you'd need to call out the material.
Sure, we have a page of that. I'm sorry, Carrie, can we go forward one? I'm sorry, forward two. Okay, yep, that one. So here are some of the elevations indicating the material selections. That again, this house was actually built by a builder, and I'm assuming approved by your board only a year or so ago. So, so we're essentially using a lot and taking a lot of cues out of what's existing and that's there. So actually the image that's on the far left is of the rear of the house. So again, this is, and then from left to right, we're going to use the same cedar siding. We're going to use white AZAC, which is what's there. We're going to use asphalt shingles, which is also what's there. I'm sorry, five, and we're I'm just going to jump over to number 6. That's just a rough indication of the timber frame structure that's going to bridge the two structures.
Can we look at the 3D renderings of this structure? Of all these little things over here with the numbers on it, we would need a detail or your point or some sort of indicating leader on that elevation to show us what these things, pictures are not going to cut it. So we're here as an aesthetic board. If you could take us to somewhere where we can get comments aesthetically of the design, it would be helpful. Do you have 3D renderings that we could take a look at this?
We do. And of course, we love to supplement visual discussions with visual images. So, but Carrie, sorry, Carrie, if you forward one more is the 3D, sorry, next one. There are the 3D images.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk to the board about, the aesthetics of this as far as the eave detail, some of the dimensional aspects of the lumber, the columns, just a little picture of what it may look like is not, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We would need an architectural detail, and you can look at the instructions on what we need as far as detailing is concerned for a structure like this. So if you can speak to, or if we could blow up, Carrie, one of these bottom left or right images, and we can get the aesthetic opinions of the board.
Hold on.
Is this clear though to everyone when we're calling out the materials and what is that clear?
Not for an approval, we need to see the details, like an eave detail. You can look at the C of A instructions. Just to have it numbered in the picture. I just can't repeat myself. We need details of the eave. You need to call out some of these members, what these columns, what the width is, the height, and how the trim is working out. All these things need to be, the windows, the doors, something needs to be clarified in a spec sheet plus call outs on the elevation. Judith, how do you feel about this this elevation of the pool house aesthetically?
Well, I think it looks interesting. It looks fine. I can understand why they want waterfalls to drown out the traffic noise, and I think these look fine. But as you say, we need to know more.
Mrs. Dearman, how do you feel about the aesthetics of this pool house?
I like this design very much. I love the middle with the open roof and the two ends, like a couple of bookmarks there. I think it's very good.
I think it's going to be a great space. Steve Williams?
But I think you said it earlier, I agree with you, that we need to see, architectural diagrams for this so that we can really have an appreciation of how this ties into the rest of the house.
What's your feeling? Aesthetically?
It's attractive as far as I know.
Right. Great, that's what I'm looking for. Val?
I think, being a fellow architect, I think she did a good job. In all fairness to any applicant on a Zoom meeting, it is so hard to see these little cues that she's pointed out in terms of the material. It's very clearly done. I actually took a screenshot because I like this presentation so much. She shows each one is keyed with a number that references the material. In terms of the rendering, it's a good descriptive image of what this thing is going to look like. So to everyone's point, including yours, it sounds like she just needs some details. So if she came back with details at 3-inch, scale, something that's descriptive, says what the material is, and some dimensional information, like you said, on the columns. I think you also mentioned a cross section through the back to demonstrate how the structure relates to the grade. But it's a flat lot, and I don't think there's any grade changes to it. So
there is in the back. So I just want to know how that was going to be. These are not big. As far as a discussion item, I think we could have flown right through this. But like you said, everything is here. It's just that we don't have the dimensional information that would really bring this home.
So just to respond to Val's comment. I'm sorry, Val. The structure is set 10 feet off of the grade. So we're obviously going to have to, there is a grade mediation or mitigation to do there. So, but the structure itself is going to absorb some of that. And then we're going to and transition back to the grade at the property line. That's what we have to do.
It's important to note on the landscape plan what trees you're removing, and have that on the landscape plan. It's not just because of this project. There are a lot of things that happen in the village. We lose a lot of great trees, and there's an oncoming code that's going to handle all this. So, like, if you were to take those 7 trees out, you might have to replace that that in caliper with matching proposed trees. So it's just.
Sorry. The only thing I would say, Dean, I didn't mean to interrupt, is that again, Giles had said these are scrub oak trees. We're happy to and if we could, sorry, Carrie, if we could just jump, and I don't want to keep everyone's time, but if we could just jump to the.
I'm asking you, please, to put, I would like to see in that section on the back, how that structure is relating to the back of the property. And please note on your plan, on the landscape plan, that you're removing 7 trees and, roughly where they are. It's really important.
Yeah, we can certainly mark this on the plan. That's no problem.
I'd like to go through the board and finish with everyone. Mrs. Dearman, did I ask you how you felt about
Yes,
the pool
yep,
house?
I'm good.
So everyone's good with this? We just need these minor details,
Yes.
pretty much standards, operating procedure details. Okay, great. So
Great.
I think this is very receptive as far as the board is concerned. So if you could just comply with that, and we could put you on for next week as well.
Okay, that'd be great.
Beautiful.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, board.
Is there a motion to table for Brandywine?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Second.
I second that.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so that is for Brandywine. The next one is 128 Germain.
Hi, everyone. Lynn Chin, 128 Jameen. Let me share my screen. So this is, I apologize. Let me just pull this up. Okay, great. So this is the house that I purchased, 128 Jameen. I do not intend to do any major exterior changes. The proposed work encompasses upgrading the windows because they're incredibly old. The windows that I intend to replace them with will look exactly the same. They're Anderson 400 white windows. And I intend to also update the siding with Alaskan white cedar siding.
Excuse me, can we see something as far as the graphic is concerned?
Yes.
And then just to jump in, Zach, do you have anything to say about this house?
Well, it's a contributing resource, and so I would say we need to take a look at what the window sashes are, and if the applicant is describing them as being incredibly old, then I would say they are something we might want to consider preserving, not replacing.
So in the interest of time.
Well, when I say incredibly old, I just meant they're falling apart. So let me give you a picture of what the windows look like right now. They're not historical. So that's the current window. And I intend to replace them with exactly the same windows, cut down to the shape and size with Anderson.
I'm sorry, but I can't see anything from this.
I can't either.
Oh, you couldn't see this? Okay.
No.
Couldn't see the
It's very
window.
small.
Oh, okay. Let me blow this up. Is this bigger?
No.
Well, that's
This is the new one. We want to see.
that's
the
an
old one.
Anderson window.
Yes. This
What
is
I'm
the old
inquiring
one.
about is the original windows of the
Yes.
house.
Can you see this? This is the original window of the house.
No, I can't see.
No, we don't see it.
Everyone, time out, please.
Yes.
So this isn't a contributing house. That's why I asked Zach
Correct.
to chime in. So that's like an automatic. We have to go make a site visit. It's
Right.
protocol.
I would
So-
love to have you come.
Okay, great.
Great,
That's
okay.
a great start. And then it saves everyone a lot of time. So if you don't mind, if we could table this and come take a site, it's just, we'd have to do this with anything that's historical in our.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. I live in Manhattan. I will be in town this Saturday and I'm happy to meet with anybody, but I'm also willing to accommodate my schedule.
So we can also go, if you don't mind, give us access. We don't need to go into the house. We can go take a look and Zach will write up a report.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Go
We don't need
anytime.
access. Yeah.
Are you okay with
Anytime.
that?
I'm perfectly okay with that. And if I might let you know what my changes are, so you're aware, it's also on the application. The windows, the siding, and repairing the foundation and the roof.
So this all sounds great, but we need to, before we can go forward, we need Zach to do a forensics and write a report that we have access to. And then we can talk about this from the same point of beginning.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
May I attend the next meeting on the 17th, or will you need more time?
No, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Carrie, if you could get me on, that would be great.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Zach, you can do that, right? You can take a look at
Absolutely.
Okay.
No problem.
Is there a motion to table 128 Germain Avenue? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. 50 Harrison Street.
Hi.
Hello, this is Dan Butler. Can you
Hey,
guys
Dan.
hear me?
Yep.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight?
Great. Tell us about your project.
All right, so I'm Dan Butler, architect for the owner. I'm here to represent Mark and Joanna Reese. And we have 50 Harrison Street, which is currently about a 2,000 square foot cape that we plan to demolish. And we understand that it is non-contributing. We've been at the, this has been before you guys as a discussion item. And we're going to place it with about a 3,000 square foot 4-bedroom home with a detached potting shed and also a swimming pool.
Please, can you share your screen? And Zach, is this true? This is not contributing?
That's correct.
Dan, do you want to share or do you want me to share?
How do I share?
If you pull the documents up and then you hit share screen, and then once you have the document up, you say new share.
Smart. Yeah, maybe it's quicker if you do it.
Okay, I will do it.
So I have Mark and Joanna Reese here, as well as Peter Barilski is our landscape designer. Should you guys have any questions?
Great. How's Stephen Barilski doing?
He's doing pretty good. He's down in Florida right now, I think.
For him.
Yeah, so if you go to drawings and then site plan. So we'll just kind of give a brief overview of the site plan. So you can see the house is pretty centrally located. Everything is as of right. We have a driveway that accomplishes all the necessary parking. And front porch. And let's see, we've got it's hard to see on this screen, but you can see the potting shed in the rear with the pool equipment that will be in its own separate little shed off the rear, as well as the swimming pool, all properly set back from all required setbacks. I guess we could proceed to the, actually, let's stay here a second because one of the important design elements, obviously, is trying to get this sanitary system in place. We've received a test hole that is pretty unfavorable as far as soil quality for the health department standards. And so really the only location that we can put this is up in this corner based on the existing utilities coming into the property. So if we can go to, I guess, the front elevation, we can talk about the architecture. And so this is basically a pretty modest farmhouse style home. We're going to have clapboard siding We're going to have some LePage windows, wood windows. I think all of the windows are casement windows. And the roofing will be like a galvalume standing seam roofing.
Carrie, can you zoom in or zoom out or something so we can see like the whole
thing?
elevation?
Yep.
We do have a veneer brick water table.
You want it more, or is that good?
We can't see the whole thing.
Okay.
To zoom out. Okay.
Can you now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Dan, continue.
All right. Yeah, so that's really it. That's basically the front of the house. Really pretty simple and explanatory, self-explanatory, I think. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you can see the rear of the house, which basically just continues the same vernacular, same siding, same treatment. We'll have a masonry, wood burning. It'll be a double-sided chimney. So there'll be a fireplace for the inside of the living room, as well as a fireplace for the outside patio here. There's going to be a screened-in porch to the right where you have your arrow there. And then up above will be an open master porch. And we have a cable rail system that the clients would like. From there, I guess we could go to the out structure.
What about the two sides?
Oh yeah, you can go to the two sides. Sorry about that. So elevation's A 1.1.
So next sheet, Carrie.
Thank you, Carrie, for driving the ship today.
Mm-hmm.
So this is if you're looking at the house, this would be the left side elevation. We have a mudroom entry towards the front, and then going along the side would be a couple of casement windows, and then kind of an awning window that would be in the middle of the kitchen. And then again, the screened-in porch and the deck above in the master. And this is on the north side, just showing the single-story area with the basement entry going down to the basement.
And would you have just a couple details regarding the trim or the soffit that you can?
Yeah, we do. If you go back out, so I believe A 3.1 wall section and details. Very simple farmhouse style soffit, and what's visual here is you can see our sill detail, which is a LePage, they call it a super historic or long historic sill, which is about 2 inches or 1 3/4 inches, which we've pretty much used on every house I've done in Sag Harbor, 22 Suffolk and 20 Union. And we'll have, I believe, 4.5 inch or 3.5 inch casing or 4.5 inch casing. I can't read. That will go around the windows.
Okay, so regarding the architecture, Val, how do you feel about this project?
Scale of the house looks good. It's not a tall residence. I think it'd be, although there's not a dimension, from finished grade to the roof, I don't believe that this is a large house.
I thought I saw 27 feet. Is that right, Daniel?
Yeah, go back to the front elevation. It has the dimensions there, I believe.
Okay, yeah. It was,
Yeah, to the
okay,
right.
off to the side.
Yeah.
But it was helpful to see the 35 feet for the maximum, because it's 8 foot below code. And, I think it's appropriate for the neighboring homes are not quite that large. So, but I think in general, it looks good. Maybe for the board, I don't know if it'd be a help to have some sort of color scheme. If there's any, you have renderings, but everything is black and white. I get it. I understand the house, and I think it's in the right direction.
Yeah, I think we have renderings were given to you guys. Carrie, is there anything, if you go out to the, there's a renderings folder. There we go.
Oh, good.
Even the internet is getting tired tonight, huh?
Can you speak to, okay.
Oh, that's,
There you go.
that's helpful.
Yeah, so you can see the desired gray siding with the white trim, black windows, and the galvalume. Obviously we do as best we can with the rendering colors and printing. So it's in the ballpark, but not perfect.
Okay, but it will be gray.
Correct.
Okay.
If you want to mention the brick color, Dan.
Yeah, so if you pan over to the right, Gary, we have kind of a material selection. There you go. So if you see the brick veneer at this scale is pretty hard to use, but it's kind of an old reused brick.
Mrs. Deeren, do you have comments about the architecture?
I think it's quite handsome. And the brick color, I think, is really good.
Steve?
I agree with Mrs. Dearman.
Judith?
I agree also.
I think it looked tremendous.
I think the last rendition of this design was, we thought it was a little busy, and this is like 1,000 times better. This is a great looking house.
Thank you.
From there, regarding the second story balcony, terrace, deck, whatever that you want to call that, how is that being, I guess, mitigated visually from your neighbors?
Well, I guess we could talk to the landscape plan, I guess.
Let's talk to the landscape plan.
So if you pull up the...
So I'm sorry, before we leave this, what's the height of the second floor deck?
So the first floor is a 9-foot plate. So we're probably about 10, 11 feet off the grade.
Thank you.
And I guess if you go back to drawings. So currently, and Peter, if you're here, you could kind of better speak to this.
Sure.
There is an existing plantings that go around this entire property.
You want me to open the landscape plan?
Yes, please, Carrie.
That'd be great.
There you go. Is it up?
It is.
I believe so.
Okay, so if we could start with how these upper story decks are being handled visually from other neighboring properties. Anyone?
Go ahead, Peter. Peter, you there?
I'm here, yes. So what was the question again?
So he has designed a second story porch and then you have neighbors. So how is that visual between the two properties mitigated?
Well, we, as of right now, what's existing on the plan is lower, like hollies in the back. I think there was a mix of hollies and some Japanese holly. So height-wise, it's not really geared up to take care of the view from the second story plan.
So that's one thing. If you guys, that would be one, try to be neighborly and you know, bring in some larger evergreens or something that will help with that situation between the two neighboring properties. But if you could walk us through this landscape quickly, that would be super helpful. And as far as trees that you're taking out, as well.
Okay. So, you know, in the front, we have, we're going to relocate some of the Japanese maples that are existing on site. There's some Japanese maples, dogwoods, pretty good scale that we're going to take off site and then bring back after construction's completed. Around the left-hand side of the house right now, there's a mix of osmanthus and some Nellie Stevens hollies, which are, you know, they're shown as 7 to 8 foot. They're probably a little bit taller than that. Back corner, there's beautiful magnolia, evergreen magnolia, with a couple Nellie Stevens hollies. And then again, we go back into the back property line opposite the pool, and it's mainly consists of lower evergreens, which I think we're gonna need to kind of bolster up, you know, figuring that we have that second story view from the, you know, the upper deck. And then around the back right corner, it's a mix of,
Kerry, can you go up a little bit?
okay, so we have, there's a mix of, like, on the right-hand border in the back, there's some taller Nellie Stevens hollies and taller osmanthus, which will certainly block the pool. The area where the, I guess, where the second story terrace is looking to the, I guess we're calling that the west, may need a little bit more height, I guess, in that area.
So
the material's still 8, 9 feet, maybe 10 feet in that height, in that side.
And can you just expand on, I guess, the gate and the fencing that's going around the property?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I can speak to that, Peter. So we have, if you go out to the, drawings, there's the shed, and I believe the pool drawing.
You said the shed?
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you go into the drawings folder.
Sorry.
So basically, for the front fencing is going to be like a horizontal slat.
Which one do you want me to go in?
Yeah, if you go to drawings,
Mhm.
and then you go to a 2.3 shed and fence. So up in the top left there, you can see a fence detail. It's going to be a horizontal cedar, clear cedar post and rail. And basically have, I think it's a 1 or 2 inch, you get 2 inch maximum space in between each horizontal.
So the caps do have to mine that 4 foot maximum.
Yep.
So you show it a little higher, but they do that has to mine the 4 feet.
Okay, so I think those are going to have to be removed because I have a 4-foot minimum for pool fence.
Okay, so I would like to go take a look at the site one more time regarding the landscape. So what we look for in the landscape is mitigating the view from the second, especially balconies, how that's working out, and how the pool is being basically shielded from the neighbors as well. That's basically the criteria, and saving existing plant material. And I'm very appreciative that you have that on the plan. So everything looks fantastic. I would like to take another look at that. And so I'm happy to vote, go to a vote on the architecture after I ask the board how they feel about that, and then we'll come back to the landscaping maybe next week.
A quick question. The house has already been approved to be demolished, the house that's there, or no?
No, we're going to have to, I believe we're going to have to go for the hearing, right? After this, after you approve our design, then we have to go.
But don't we have to?
Elizabeth, it's not a historic house, correct? So Elizabeth, what is the process?
If it's not a historic house, it does not require the hearing under the code for demolition. It only,
Right.
if it's over 3,000, what you're proposing is over 3,000 square feet, you have to have a public hearing.
Yeah, so we're about 23 square feet over the 3,000. Because I thought that we had, because
Not
we were in
approve
historic, that we
anything
had.
until you have the public hearing though, okay?
But we need
Either
to.
that or make it 23 feet smaller.
So just make a motion to set the public hearing. And it'll have to be in January because we need to notice it in the paper. But you cannot approve any part of the application until a public hearing is held on the matter.
Okay, so we have to wait even for the demo.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Dan, I gave you the parameters for the landscape. That's just like a general, but I will go through the board for, the comments, and please let us know how you'd like us to proceed. Set the public hearing now, and we'll see you in January.
Yeah, I think that's what makes sense. This is Mark Reese and Joanna Reese from 50 Harrison. And yes, we would like to set the public hearing for as soon as we can, which sounds like the January, I'm sorry, did you say 14th meeting?
Yes.
I mean, these are minimal comments that we've made tonight. I mean, it's a beautiful design, but I'm gonna just run through the rest of the crew here, and then we'll leave it at that. We'll set a meeting.
Okay.
Val?
Great. I like what Judith said. It's a handsome looking house. I think it's a great design. So I'll leave it at that. We'll wait till the public hearing to vote.
Steve?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Dean, just to speak to your point about the landscaping with the second story, we are currently being on both the east side and our south side, have new owners that are also in the process of building and having to landscape. So what I'm hoping might end up happening is a happy middle where we all do so much screening that on both sides we end up satisfying any concerns. The existing screening to the west towards Chris and our neighbor, Chris Leonard, is substantial, and I think would meet any concerns you would have, particularly given where the balcony would sit versus the house. And on the east and south side, I believe certainly the east side has been approved for 56 Harrison. And I haven't seen the extent of the landscaping, but I think he has a similar situation that we do in terms of needing some height for his screening as well.
Okay, so if you're I'm just trying to make sure there are no snags when we go into January.
Understood.
So that's what we're gonna want to know. Maybe you speak to your neighbor, or you foil it or whatever. We'd like to know if you're not planning on planting trees that are gonna make that mitigation happen.
I didn't say that. I just said I just would to give a little more color to the picture here, to understand that there's going to be a lot of planting on two sides, on both sides of the property lines.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to waste money, so if it all can get figured out before our January meeting, that'd be great. But these are small things. If you could shield your second story deck and make sure that pool is pretty much, not in someone's window view, that would be super helpful.
Okay.
Great project here. Everyone loves it. So
great.
Let's go forward. I make a motion to set the public hearing for January. What is that, Carrie?
It's January 14th.
January 14th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. Thank you so much. It's a great project.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I think we're on to discussions.
Anthony is up.
Yes.
Discussion 62 Franklin Street, please.
Hello, Anthony Vermandois, 68 Union Street. So, just want to briefly introduce you to the project. I imagine you're going to want to do a site visit, so I want to make the arrangements for that. Basically, what we have here is an existing house is 25 feet by 25 feet. Has sort of an odd shaped roof. It's hipped on 3 sides, but gabled at the rear elevation.
Can we see something?
And I don't know if you can bring up some photographs there, Carrie, please.
Dean, are you trying to talk to him?
I was asking him to bring up a drawing or let me know that someone is.
Let's look at the photos first, please. Yeah, so.
Which one?
Third one from the top there. Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. So that's the rear elevation. You can see the gable on the rear elevation. It's a little kind of a little bump out lean-to there on the back. Can we go to the next photo, please? There's the side elevation, the little second floor dormer. Next one, please. That's the front elevation, so you can see the front porch, the hipped roof, a little second floor dormer there as well. And finally, and there's the front elevation from the street. So yeah, so you can see it's a 25 foot by 25 foot square, and a front porch, lean-to in the back, a couple of roof dormers, and that's basically it. Can we go to A1? So there's our floor plan. So what we're proposing is a 1-story addition and smaller second story addition with additional dormers. And A2, please. So there you can see really no substantial changes to the front elevation of the house, but on the side there you can see the additions coming off of the side elevations there. You can see the additions coming off the rear, basically just matching the same roof shapes, roof details, and that the additions will be stepped down from the main roof height 2 feet for the middle section and about another 3 or 4 feet for the rear section. So that's about it. We're going to maybe take a quick look at S1, the site plan, please. So right now we're kind of doing a little bit of back and forth with the health department. We are hoping to get a swimming pool and a pool house in, but we kind of have to wait to see what the where the dust settles with the health department before we know how much room we're going to have left over with the septic system. So that's why I haven't really developed the pool house and pool location yet. We have gotten our ZBA approvals for some pyramid relief for the main house, so that's good. They're happy that we're providing some extra parking, which the house doesn't have now. So that's basically briefly it. I believe it's a contributing building, so I imagine you're going to want to take a look at it. And
yeah, it is.
Yeah. So
Anthony, I'd like to, if it's a discussion, so I'd like to give you some quick feedback. It's getting
Sure.
late. I'm going to start with you, Zach.
Well,
you got feelings.
It's a pretty substantial addition, so I think it's going to take a little closer look to see if it feels too large, just the scale of it, but that's just my initial impression.
Judith?
Well, it's a nice little bungalow, and I agree with Zach that it's that addition looks mighty big, and I'd like to visit it and think about it.
Bob?
It does look quite large for that spot there.
Steve?
Yeah, I agree with all that's been said. I just wonder, it looks like the second, let's say the rear addition, based on the sky's plane exposure, just seems to me like it's a higher roof line than the front, and maybe that's just my perspective.
No, the addition is lower than the front. So if you go to maybe A2 there.
Okay.
So you see, if you maybe look at, let's look at the drawing 2 there. That's the west elevation in the upper right-hand corner. So you see the 25 feet of the existing, and then the addition coming off to the rear. So while the addition is longer than the existing, it does step down considerably. And the rear part, the furthest back part of the addition, I don't know if I said that right, but the furthest back part of the addition is only 1 story high. It's not the 1.5 stories that the rest of the house is.
Val,
So
I realize that we all have to go to the site, but
Yeah.
I would like to give Anthony something to work with. Do you have comments?
No, I think that what was just pointed out was the question, what is the scale of this addition in relationship to the existing structure? Admittedly, the drawing may not do the design justice. I don't know if a rendering, could be provided, but from just a black and white drawing, it's a little bit difficult to get a good read on this. I think a site visit is appropriate, but from the north elevation, I think the scale, of the addition looks good. It's just the side. And again, it could be a computer thing that maybe like the previous applicant gave us a colored rendering. I think that if we had a better sense of graphically what's happening, I'd feel more comfortable in giving a good comment on this.
Okay,
Sure,
so
we have that rendering is underway, so that's good.
That's
We'll
great.
start with the, we recognize that this is we're not in any big rush here, so we recognize there'll be a process. And yeah, so I'm gonna, maybe I'll talk to Carrie to set up the site visit, and next time we come, we'll have hopefully have a better understanding of the scale of the project and the renderings.
Bethany?
I think it's very interesting in that as you do look at the north elevation, I mean, it's a quirky little cottage as it is, or design. I mean, just by itself. And then when you see what he's adding on, it's like the sides are very modern looking. So I find it interesting.
I do too. It's like every
And
time
I like that. I mean, I definitely, when you look at the north elevation, you can see that the addition is small. It's not as high. So so far so good from my perspective.
Yeah, I think this is a great step forward. So Anthony, did I miss anyone? Judith and Bob?
Okay, we're all good.
Okay, great. So we have a great start. We need to go to the site, and I think you have a favorable response.
Anthony, do you want to be there with the board, or can they go?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'll try to, I just got to clear it with the homeowner. I'm sure he'll be fine, but just want to, I'll get back to you tomorrow or Monday with some dates. Okay.
Okay,
Thank you
great.
very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Great. Thanks.
70 Glover Street, please. 70 Glover.
She's on. I'm just unmuting her.
Here.
Hi, Anna.
Hi. I just want to thank the board members that came to my house and for their comments, etc. I started looking at what changing the roof line on that, what is now the dormer might be. And it's, I think, could be an interesting improvement. But right now, I just need, I guess, a report or something to bring to the zoning board to be able to and then take this to the next step.
I'm going to start with Zach. Zach, can you just give us an overall
Sure.
of your report?
Of course. Well, we just made a site visit, and it's very informative. What we discussed was the fact that the water table is so high here that lifting the house, the core structure, which is that squarish mass in the upper left corner, that will help to remedy the water table problem. The one concern that I have there is that once this is raised, and I think the applicant said that would be in the neighborhood of about 18 inches. By my calculation, that would then result in about anywhere between perhaps 3 to 4 steps coming up to the front door. Now that's going to result in some sort of a stoop. And there's ample design precedent for that in the village, but I think that's got to be part of the design proposal, is how to resolve the entryway. And also, it's on a stone foundation. I think that's probably been crumbling or has had problems. But I would also say, given the fact that the house elevated some 18 inches or so, we are now going to see that foundation. And so it's important, now it's been stuccoed over, it's stone, but I think attention has to be given to what material is to be used that will be appropriate, which I would argue would be stone in that new elevated foundation. The extensions to the south and to the east are later additions. I think the intention is to pull that one long extension to the back away from the property line. Those are all 1 story, so they're not of any historical significance in terms of what's retained, so long as the scale of them doesn't impact, negatively on the scale of the house. So I think it's off to a good start, and we're just going to need some details.
Can you run through your elevations with the board? Applicant?
Yes, if if you look what I've so with the plan, I'm pulling it so that it's in line and then extending the top a tiny bit. With the elevations, you can see that the dark area is where the house encroaches into the pyramid law. And that is what I need to get approved by the zoning board. And then and you can see that I have a stoop idea drawn up, but roughly, and no material, but I assume that the material should appear the same throughout the house, not just at the and then assuming that the rest of the house would all end up being cedar siding, and hopefully with a cedar tiled roof as well.
So,
I just want to quickly comment that these drawings, and they're not necessarily accurate, this is a proposal in the making, but what I understood the elevation, the change at site was to be in the neighborhood of 18 inches. This looks like it's greater than 3 feet. So this is very different.
No, I don't think it's great. It's the main house would go up 18 inches, but if I was not able to rebuild and I was trying to say that the existing is 8 inches lower, so then the whole, which means that the whole thing has to go up another 8 inches to be above the FEMA line. And whatever the area tells me but that I need to be is what I was proposing. I mean, I don't necessarily want to raise the house. I just want to make sure that it doesn't get flooded again. I want to bring it above.
I understand. I'm simply saying that the visual impact of what we're seeing here, the front wall, that house, the first floor is a good 3 or more feet above grade. And that's, and so visually, that's a very substantial change. And I had approximated 3 steps. I think I'm counting 7.
Oh, in the front.
Yeah. I mean, so
I don't know if that is
so that just has to get worked out.
Yeah, that I don't know that that is really accurate. And
Yeah,
I will revisit the elevation heights.
We would need the finished floor elevation of the existing house because there's something that does look a little strange here. But this is the design that you're comfortable with?
I was looking at the suggestion of of you guys to at where we have the second floor dormer to change the roof line of that, and that seemed interesting, like a possibility.
Okay. Scale
wise, in the sense that with the space that I'm slightly enlarging the house, but only by I don't know, few hundred feet, it'd still be well under what would be permitted for that size lot.
Okay, so looking at what you've presented to the board, we're an aesthetic board, so I have to ask them how they feel about this design so we can move forward. I will say that we will need, next time we look at this, we're going to need some finished floor existing elevations of what's going on, because this does not look like what we saw at the site. And like you said, you want to move this up 18 inches. But as far as the aesthetics are concerned, I'm going to go through the whole board. Mrs. Dearman, what do you feel? How do you feel about her addition?
Can we go back to the, I'm looking like right now, right? I'm looking at the west elevation and the east elevation. So I'd like to see the north and south again. This is the back of the house that I'm looking at.
This is the back, right?
That's the front. And here, here you go. It's
that's the side, yeah.
Right. And right now, you just have the main house. Is that correct?
The main house is basically this portion. You see that line? That's where the smaller portion of the main house ends, and the main house itself probably ends around here, where this is half of the roof, and then the roof comes back down. Now, I'm looking at redoing that so that you see that roof line again.
That's just on what we're looking at right now, Mrs.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. I don't know. It just seems like it's, that nice little old house. And I mean, it does have to go up, but it just seems very long to me now.
But Bethany, much of that already exists.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking that. Yeah. That's why
that long extension to the right that goes to the back of the house, I believe the project is proposing that be made a little bit longer than it presently is, but not substantially so. But I think in a final presentation, you're going to need to see what is standing and what is proposed, so that you can contrast existing with to be. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be. I choose to really wait to comment.
I'm still going to go through the rest of the board applicant, but
okay.
There are, when we were there, the sill was that we're looking at right now, where that addition is going to the east, was almost on the ground. So that's more than 18 inches. So we're not really looking at something that we need to comment on, because the information is not correct. So
we're looking at the wrong house right now.
Well,
I can I can double check this, the heights and
Sorry.
and show the actual heights, what FEMA shows.
And if you could somehow shade the drawing so we can see what is
Definitely,
additional
work it out.
to the existing, and we need to be able to discern between the new and the old.
Right.
And I think you mentioned on site that you were adding 4 more feet. That's really great information for us to know. So, but I need to run through everybody else. Val?
So the side elevation that she had shown, I think it's important because the house was once a cottage where it had a shed roof dormer on the back, but it looks like this weird sort of salt box shape without the rake board on the one side. And I'm thinking that if you look at the existing house, there's a peak that comes up and a peak that comes down, and the rake board is missing, and it just looks like the house is some sort of an amorphous sort of salt box. And I think that rake board, which is going to make the roof look like it went up and then it went back down, is a key thing in architecturally preserving, it'll make it look correct. It's just a simple matter of adding some trim to the side of the structure. So that's all I'm going to comment on, since this is in front of the zoning board. But yeah, architecturally, that's the only thing I could nitpick on this design.
Steve?
I like Al's comments. I'd like to see more advanced drawings.
Bob?
I have no opinion on this right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to go out and see it.
And Judith, did I ask you for your opinion?
No, I want to know. I want to know about the shed dormer, which I believe is going to be removed off the back, and also that side addition. Speaking of salt box, has a very long, low salt box roof, which is very attractive, and I think that's going to be maintained. It comes down very low.
Yeah.
But yes, and so, but I would like to know further what you're going to do about that shed dormer and the addition that you might change the ridge line on. You were thinking of.
Yeah, I can definitely show you that and show better exactly the height elevations.
Great.
Yeah, as far as the original ridge is concerned, if you could keep that intact, like Val was saying, and maybe if you did like a giant dormer off of that, so you would maintain that original architecture. I think that would really help tremendously.
If you went to the side elevation, we can point to it very quickly.
Right there.
Yep. So in the top, where the chimney is, the existing house has a peak that's coming back to the rear. And if you could include a rake board so that the shed dormer doesn't marry itself to the side of the building, the wall will still be in the same plane, but by putting some trim on the back, it's going to read exactly like the existing cottage does. It doesn't look like this funny salt box.
Yeah, we could do that.
That's it. The one-story salt box, as Judith pointed out, if you could call it that, that exists. So, but I think the trim board is helpful because then the house retains its original character.
So applicant, I think you have some great comments there. Yeah. Are you good with that?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you for your time the other day. I appreciate that tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next step would for me to come back to you before I go to the zoning board.
I'm going to let Elizabeth expand on that. Elizabeth?
I don't instruct, private applicants which board to go to first. This board has to approve a plan that complies with zoning or has variances. So we can't really continue and approve of it. But your next moves are your own, are your decisions.
Yeah, well, I went first to
Board
the
to tell you
zoning
which
board.
way to go.
And then the zoning board told me I needed to have a discussion with you. Now I've had that discussion. Maybe I should go to the zoning board with your comments and then get back to the historic board once I've had hopefully approval from the zoning.
Yeah, our comments are pretty much in keeping with the original architecture. I mean, everything's there. It's just we had a problem with the roof, and I think Val came up with a great solution. But this is basically as far as we can go before you get your other approvals.
I understand.
Great. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Okay.
6 Rector Street, please.
6 Rector.
This is Dennis Downs, and Charlie McCarron is also here tonight. I assume you can hear me.
I'm here.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Dean. So the last time this was on, you asked us to give you some proof that the porch on the front of the house existed and what the inside of the basement looking towards the street looked like when there was a porch and there was a door and windows under the porch. So Kerry, do you have the photographs that that Charlie dropped off, or Charlie, if you have them, can you share them with us now?
Well,
Or
yeah,
is
we just sent them a couple hours ago. Yeah.
Right. You got to go to the front of the building. Okay.
Are these them?
Yes.
No, I have other. These are old photos, but
These are the ones we had last month. We added more this month.
Did you did you email them, Mr. McLaren?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
About 2 hours ago.
Okay, let me see if I.
Okay, so hopefully you got them in your record.
Actually, I didn't do it. My granddaughter did.
I got them.
Mackenzie.
You're showing your age.
That's good.
Okay, there you go. There's a.
Okay, so this photograph basically shows the footings that existed for the original porch. We think the porch came down sometime around the 1930s when Charlie's ancestors acquired this property. And they lived there for a long period of time. And then eventually, after both, Charlie's great aunt, I think it is, or maybe aunt, she passed away. And then
that picture right there of the steps.
Yeah, then her husband sold the property to Charlie. And that's the foundation for the old, what do you call it? Porch that was there.
I need to talk to Zach. Zach, how do we move forward on this project?
Go ahead, Zach.
Well, I think it's good to see some physical evidence, but we saw in the foundation the evidence of a window. Whether there was a door beneath the stoop leading into the house remains to be determined. And
we have a picture of it. It'll come up.
You have a photograph of the door.
Yeah, if Carrie can screen down, she'll find the photograph of the door and the window from the inside of the house.
That's what I was getting to. We would want to look at the inside to see if there's evidence of a door leading out.
Right.
Yeah. Under the stoop.
When you were there to do an inspection, I wasn't around, so I wasn't able to get you inside. So
right.
Okay.
There it is, right there.
There you go.
Well, there you have it. So, following this forensic evidence, you're in a position to present design solution for how that doorway is going to work. What's very important is that the stoop itself, because that's been rebuilt, that needs to be reconsidered because it's not historically, it wasn't designed with history in mind. Let's just say that. So I think this is a front facade overhaul that needs to take that into account. It's a very important detail.
Do you need to get inside this structure, Zach?
What's that? Sorry?
You need to visit the structure and go inside to take a look?
Well, it might be helpful, but just generality, realize that that stoop is not to be built in masonry. It's made of wood. This is often misunderstood. So nothing should be a brick that's in front of the foundation. Nothing.
So
that-
Zach,
all
just
wood.
Zach, so that this is Downs talking.
Yes.
Just so that you're aware, Charlie's got 3 or 4 other photographs of similar homes in the village that have this porch on the front.
Yeah.
And we're perfectly happy to reproduce it the same way as those other homes are, or any other suggestions that you have.
Sure,
It's
but-
basically just a walkway and or just a very long stoop. Put it that way. That was in the front of the
Well,
house.
Yeah, maybe 4 feet square. But the point is that you might find others in the village, but that doesn't mean that they're historically correct. They might have been built in the 1940s.
Right. Yeah, we don't
So,
know that. We're
you know,
just saying
so-
that it's
right.
similar to what we have.
Sure. Well, I might need to go back and take a look at this with you fellas so that we can pick up
We'd be
on some
happy to do
important
that.
details. That'd be good. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
That invite's open at any time you want.
Okay, excellent.
As soon as possible.
Yep. Okay.
So
You still have to go to the zoning board of appeals if you're okay with the porch. I still have to go to the zoning board of appeals because I'm too close to the street. The house is close to the street to begin with. This will
Right.
make it even closer, but that's not an impediment by itself. There are many homes in the village that are right on the boundary line in the street.
Oh, sure,
Roger
sure.
Street being one of them.
They always were. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
I would-
Rector Street, I mean, the street it's on, all those
Right.
houses are closed.
Yeah,
Right.
all of them are very
Right.
close to the street. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the character of that neighborhood.
In
What
the,
makes it unique.
in the interest of time and
Yeah.
moving forward with this project, I need to get Zach in there and get a report. And so all the board members can start from a point of beginning. And,
Okay.
and it would be great if we get the board to come down and take a look at this place. I mean, your project is I think it's impressive, but we have to
Yep.
start with Zach.
Amazing.
Okay, so Zach, will you let Carrie know what date you want to do it and time, and we'll make sure that the place is available.
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay. Does any
Yeah,
other board
will do.
member want to go with Zach?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Great.
totally,
More-
yes.
More the better. Much more the better. Yeah, you can see it firsthand for yourself, what,
Sure.
what it was really like.
I want to.
We'll coordinate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great night, Dennis.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys.
Yep.
All right, before we close out, I guess I'll adjourn it, but I do have to ask the board after I adjourn this meeting. I make
Hold
a
on.
motion to adjourn this meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
No one leave. Don't leave.
Hold on 1 minute. Hold on.
Bethany?
Hold on.
I'm not going anywhere. I would like us.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold
Oh,
on.
sorry. Okay.